Turning to other news this morning, spokeswoman for an Illinois congressman and Wisconsin National Guard member who criticized Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers says the congressman was simply exercising his off-duty free speech rights to do so as a congressman. Republican U.S. Representative Adam Kinzinger was critical of Evers on Twitter and Fox News on Monday for an executive order pulling the state's Guard troops out of Arizona. Wisconsin statutes prohibit a commissioned officer from using contemptuous words against government officials, including the president and Wisconsin's governor. Chicago police are searching for a suspect in the deadly shooting of a Northside College prep student in Chicago. 17-year-old Emmanuel Gallegos was shot and killed Monday riding in a vehicle on West Addison. A Northwest Indiana student is accused of having a gun inside of a car outside of her high school. Crown Point police say the 18-year-old Kayla Apking told them she had that weapon to protect herself from a relative's violent girlfriend. However, the defendant is charged with carrying a handgun without a license, illegal possession of alcohol, and possession of drug paraphernalia. A second transgender inmate in Illinois is suing to be moved from a men's prison. Janiyah Monroe was sent to prison for attempted murder and attempted arson charges as Andre Patterson. Monroe claims that he has now transitioned into a she and needs to be moved from the prison in Pontiac. The mayor of Belvedere says there is never a good time for a community's largest employer to cut 1,300 jobs. Mayor Mike Chamberlain says cities better equipped now to deal with the loss of a shift at the local Fiat Chrysler plant than back in 2008. Fiat Chrysler yesterday announced it's cutting back to 2 shifts at that plant. Just over 1,300 workers will be laid off by the move. Nikki Haley, a former U.S. ambassador to the UN, has been nominated for a seat on the board of directors at Boeing. Haley was previously the governor of South Carolina, and she fought attempts by unions to represent workers at the plant where the Chicago-based company assembles its Boeing 787 jetliners. Former Bears defensive standout is now a federal agent. Chicago Tribune reports that Charles Tillman has graduated from the FBI's training academy. The ex-NFL Pro Bowl cornerback retired from the NFL in 2016. He played 12 of his 13 seasons with the Bears. He was named the NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year in 2013 for his charity work. Now he's a member of the FBI. Blackhawks begin a 3-game West Coast road swing tonight against the Ducks. Bulls visit the Grizzlies. Diamondbacks beat the Cubs 5-4 at Sloan Park. Sox recorded a Cactus League win over the Royals. Men's basketball tonight. Fighting Illini take on number 12 Purdue. In the Big East, DePaul visits Georgetown in the Valley tonight. Illinois State and Missouri State. SIU at Evansville, Bradley at Valparaiso, and Loyola will tackle Northern Iowa. The news is a service of La Quinta Inns and Suites. If you're traveling for work, make your next stop La Quinta by Wyndham. Their comfortable beds and Brightside breakfast make it easy to relax. Win at business wherever you go. Book at lq.com. 5:09 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder is watching the Chicago beating story unravel.
As you know, the police are now investigating this as a possible orchestrated hoax, and they're finding all sorts of evidence, including apparently there's some writing material. It might be the case that the letter that Jussie Smollett allegedly received about a week before the attack, he might have been involved in writing that letter. My goodness.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
It either is or it isn't. When it comes down to it, that's all that really matters when choosing a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz. It's either certified by Mercedes-Benz factory-trained technicians or it isn't. It's either backed by an unlimited mileage warranty for up to 5 years or it isn't. It's absolute confidence in 30,000 precision parts or it isn't. The Mercedes-Benz Certified Pre-Owned Sales Event, now through February 28th, only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. Come in today and we'll help cover your first month's payment. Offer available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. There are those who settle for nothing less. For them, the choice is simple. It's either up to Mercedes-Benz standards or it isn't. It's flawlessly maintained or it isn't. It's either Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned or it isn't.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on credit towards your first month's payment and certified pre-owned warranties.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 4343 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 4343. Enjoy.
Rocket Mortgage is with you every step of the way to provide a seamless mortgage experience. Visit rocketmortgage.com today. Licensed in all 50 states, equal housing lender, NMLS number 3030.
5:12 in Chicago this morning, and we're seeing freezing drizzle begin to fall on Rockford, encroaching on Freeport this morning and heading our way. Check the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
CTA Purple Line trains have some residual delays on the Lindenbound northbound side after a mechanical problem at Howard Station. Service is getting back on schedule. In Bolingbrook this morning, there's a crash on 53 at Lily Cache. No delays or issues to report on the Aidens Kennedy right now. Express lanes are open inbound. Inbound Eisenhower, there is access into downtown. The inbound I had been closed. Burn Circle Wells, overnight work. Now you can get through. Traffic had been forced to the outbound Kennedy or the outbound Ryan. Stevens, Ryan look good. No delays yet on I-57 Bishop Ford. Tollways are okay in northwest Indiana, too. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
The National Weather Service has just told us that that freezing rain in Winnebago and Rockford, they've counted, according to police, in spots along US 20 up to 30 cars in the ditch already this morning, so drive with care. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next, and your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Some snow this morning. Little or no accumulation. Freezing drizzle possible, too. Otherwise cloudy, high 33. Partly cloudy tonight, low down to 11. Clouds and chilly. Snow tomorrow. Little or no accumulation, high 29. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Dry for us right now. 24 at O'Hare, 25 along the lakefront. Next news, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
Make sure to check out the Income Store live video stream of today's show right now at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, we asked the question and discussed last night's election results on yesterday's show, wondering, is it going to be big labor versus big finance as was projected, or will there be a big upset? And last night we got a big upset. Yes. One of the names that we discussed here, a lot of people didn't, but we had her on the show several times during the course of the primary election, and she was making a late move. There was some polling indicating she was making a late move. But Lori Lightfoot not only takes out Bill Daley, she takes the pole position for the runoff.
She sure does. And we love her, too, because she's one of the leading candidates that was actually brave enough to come on the show. Tony Preckwinkle wouldn't. Daley wouldn't. Jerry Joyce wouldn't. And she did. And this is her first time running for office.
So what do you think of us now?
About the same thing I did before you finished first.
And of course, I want to thank those who had the courage, and let me understand that, courage to stand with our campaign against the machine.
Well, there was this moment a couple of weeks ago that I think helped to springboard her, got her some publicity, but she did a good job of sort of entering the fray and leading the discussion and being quoted all of the time in news outlets by taking on some of these issues that she had been involved in sort of in a behind-the-scenes way throughout some of her legal career. And the moment a couple of weeks ago was the back and forth with machine stooge Robert Martwick, Northwest Side State Representative, over his legislation to make the Cook County Assessor an appointed position rather than an elected one.
Yeah, and he stormed into her press conference, and she wouldn't have any of it. She gets out from behind the lectern and is face-to-face with him. And she's half his height, but she put him in his place, and I loved it.
Well, that's the other thing. We're looking at the prospect, which is nice because everybody likes tradition, of continuing the tradition of having a diminutive Democrat in the mayor's office. And she's you know.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're right. She's 5'1". She is 5'1". She told me she was 5'1".
Well,
5'1", full of spunk.
Maybe if she's wearing those Tony Preckwinkle platforms. But
well, they should have had her stand up on like a milk crate last night so we could see her. That was a little hard, but whatever. I love her.
312-642-5600 Turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA Turnkey.pro text line. Your reactions to last night's election results, and again, just because you don't live in Chicago doesn't mean you should be unconcerned about what happens in Chicago, as obviously you know in this entire region, what happens in Chicago has a ripple effect throughout the rest of the state and really throughout the rest of the Midwest. So take your calls on that. I got to say, to see Bill Daley and Big Finance, Fredo Daley and Big Finance told by the voters to get in the boat, that was satisfying.
Wasn't it, though? It was, and just because I have a neighbor who works for Rahm Emanuel, and they thought that this would be the third term of Mayor Emanuel, that they would all get to keep their jobs, and that I was crazy because he's going to win. No, he didn't win. He's not even in the runoff. And watching his concession speech last night was very fulfilling.
Yeah, I mean, the concession speech was fine, and it was sort of pro forma, what you're supposed to do. But the commentary that a daily failure provides, it's just really...
It speaks volumes.
Well, it's just really interesting. People have had enough, I think, to a large extent, of the big finance cowards who have a lot of responsibility for wrecking this city economically. And Bill Daley was their latest stooge. This is, their approach with Bill Daley is don't do anything. Mm-hmm. Don't, translate civic involvement to actual recruitment and development of somebody that could lead the city. That would be a paradigm shifter. But we'll just wait to see who shows up. And then we'll say, okay, Bill Daley, you're the best we can do. And so we'll back Bill Daley. And that attitude and that approach is why we have the worst governed city in the history. Yep. Well, the worst governed city in the United States at present by any quality of life metric, despite all of Tony Preckwinkle's self-acknowledged accomplishments over the last 30 years.
Oh, we'll get to her later. But Bill Daley, he wanted to do what his dad did. He wanted to do what his brother did, and that's be mayor of Chicago.
And I'm very proud of the campaign which we ran. It was positive, and it was focused on the future of our great city.
Yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
I think he starts to tear up. A lot of tears last night.
Here's the thing about this. People, Jerry Joyce, why couldn't the Joyces and the Daleys get together? And if Jerry Joyce hadn't been in the race, then the 19th ward vote total would have put Daley in the runoff. Yeah, so? That's not the race. If things were different, they wouldn't be the same. Yeah. Here's why the upset was possible, and this is what we discussed previously on the show. Big Labor and Big Finance, their candidates were not able to separate from the field. So that should have told you something for the entire primary election. Daley and Preckwinkle couldn't separate. It wasn't like it was 2 or even 3 and then everybody else, or a definitive second tier where there was real daylight. There wasn't, 17, 16, 15, 11, and on down the line. And so their inability to separate is instructive. Daley's inability with overwhelming resources or overwhelming name ID against mostly unknowns and a couple of knowns should tell you something about the quality of the candidate and about the reality on the ground in Chicago with respect to the sort of the men and women of always being Daley and even to some extent Preckwinkle. It seems to me, Lori Lightfoot, and
Well, you said here on the station a long time before, right when she announced, and a few weeks after that, you said she is going to be our next mayor of the city of Chicago. And that's before Mayor Emanuel decided. I know that you did because I went, what? But that's before Mayor Emanuel decided not to run. You had made that statement.
Well, here's the thing about Lori Lightfoot, and this is not an endorsement of her public policy prescriptions. We've had her on the show. We have, obviously, there's a lot of room between us, on policy, but she's smart.
Former
she
federal prosecutor.
is a good communicator. She has a credible resume, and she checks more boxes for more people, looking for sort of who's up to the task of Chicago than did any of the other candidates, combined with the fact I want somebody that's not a man or woman of always. And I think that's the real kicker that put her into first place.
And she has a story to tell.
I came home from Christmas break to learn that my brother was in trouble again and headed to prison for most of his adult life. My father passed away while he was in prison, and I wish he could be here tonight to see this moment. His son is free and doing the best he can to rebuild his life, and his daughter with a real chance to become the next mayor of this great city.
One correction, 4th largest city in America now. Houston passed us, Lori. I don't know how to break it to you. Verlon on the south side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Now, as an honorary Whitey for Willie, I'm disappointed today.
Yes.
But you can't blame Willie Wilson for not winning because he's not a political insider. He didn't know how to go about buying the seat. You got to do it the Ed Burke way. Landslide. So he went old school. So in saying that, I'm going to give you my analysis of this runoff that's coming up. Preckwinkle has the unions and the machine, so she has a foothold. Lori Lightfoot has the LGBTQ cross community in the north side. So I don't know how it's going to shake out. Your guess is as good as mine. But I want to ask you a long-term question, Dan. If Lori Lightfoot pulls it out, do you think she has the political weight and pressure to be able to get these aldermen to do what she wants so she can get things passed? See, if it was a Rahm Emanuel or a Daley or a Preckwinkle, I think they hold cards, trump cards, on those aldermen to get what they want done. But do you think Lori Lightfoot could do it?
Well, thanks for the call, Verlon. Look,
I think she can.
Well, first of all, the city council is largely 50 trained SEALs. They
don't think independently or on their own.
They
do what they're told.
They march, right. They've always marched to the beat of the mayor, with a few exceptions, like the Harold Washington era. It's not about can she get the alderman to do her bidding. The question is, what's her bidding going to be? And by the way, I do think that Lori Lightfoot is the favorite going into the runoff.
Oh,
Tony
by far,
Preckwinkle is in trouble. You would think she has big labor. She has these resources. You would think she's the favorite, but she's got a constituency problem. And that turns out to be a real problem.
Well, she already has a job, and she's not doing that job well. So why would we reward her with the mayor's office?
Yeah, I'm not so sure that's the analysis by much of the electorate. But I just think that she is somebody who's been there 30 years, combined with some of the things she's done as Cook County Board President that have riled the electorate, like the sugar tax. And I just think she's in trouble. Not to mention,
she is the machine.
She's lost. It's not LGBTQ for Lori Lightfoot. That's part of it. But it's lakefront goo-goos.
Yeah, everybody in my neighborhood voted for Lori Lightfoot. They did.
I mean, if you looked at her...
They wanted change.
If you looked at her election night party last night, mostly white guys is what I saw. Craig in Mount Greenwood.
Yeah, hey, Dan and Amy. I didn't see that coming at all, but I'll tell you what, I just see it as another just showing how the anti-machine and anti-establishment, because, she's not in that machine that we usually think of in that. She's out of that. And the machine that's always been there and everything in operation, we're sick of that machine, that's for sure. So anything but, going with the status quo. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Craig. But here's the issue. So just now that you've sent your message to Bill Daley, which is, I think, what a lot of people did, and it wasn't just voting for Lori Lightfoot. That was one way to do it. Willie Wilson, Paul Vallis, others. Just remember, Bill de Blasio was not the favored son in New York City either. So just because it's an upset winner doesn't mean it's going to be a paradigm shift. Doesn't mean we're going to get political culture change in Chicago. I don't think Lori Lightfoot is going to extend sort of the machine-style corruption. And she's a corporate attorney, so you would think she would have a strain of realism in her. But, she's a progressive. And by that, I mean a Democrat socialist. And by that, I mean a central planner. And by that, I mean a big problem. So if you think that, Lori Lightfoot winning is going to usher in a new day in Chicago in terms of quality of life, she also has sort of an antagonistic relationship with the police, to be polite about it. So it's nice to have the upset. It's nice to send the Dailies packing, and that was the right play. But, I mean, just remember sort of going in, control your expectations. There's nobody who is running for mayor. Nobody that's going to markedly change the trajectory of Chicago. You know why? Because the electorate doesn't want it. We're not ready for reform.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It either is or it isn't. When it comes down to it, that's all that really matters when choosing a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz. It's either certified by Mercedes-Benz factory-trained technicians, or it isn't. It's either backed by an unlimited mileage warranty for up to 5 years, or it isn't. It's absolute confidence in 30,000 precision parts, or it isn't. The Mercedes-Benz Certified Pre-Owned Sales Event, now through February 28th, only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. Come in today and we'll help cover your first month's payment. Offer available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. There are those who settle for nothing less. For them, the choice is simple. It's either up to Mercedes-Benz standards, or it isn't. It's flawlessly maintained, or it isn't. It's either Mercedes-Benz Certified Pre-Owned, or it isn't.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on credit towards your first month's payment and certified pre-owned warranties.
Admit it, we're all busy and it's hard to get enough fruits and veggies in our diet, and that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies in a capsule. There's no preservatives, and it helps boost your immune system all winter long. I've met Dr. Douglas Howard, founder and creator of Balance of Nature. He showed me the emails, played the voicemails of real people who use Balance of Nature to get healthy and stay healthy. That should be you. Don't wait another day. Try it now before you get sick. And when you go to balanceofnature.com, you see that promo code there. We'll type in Chicago, and you will get 35% off your order. Or call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751.
When you hear the word divorce, a lot of thoughts go through your head. The emotional exhaustion, confusion, the extra demands, loneliness. It's not a fun subject to talk about. So many people have or are currently going through a divorce. You may be one of them, or you know someone who is. Maybe a family member or friend. Now there's some great assistance to get you through the tough times. A BFF's Guide to Divorce can help you or someone you know walk through the divorce process and relieve much of the stress. It explains some of the variables and decisions of a divorce, along with the overall process and terminology. But it also explains how a best friend forever, a BFF, can walk alongside their friend during this challenging time, providing emotional and tactical support. Get a BFF's Guide to Divorce now for yourself or a friend. It's available from Amazon. To order, go to Amazon.com and search the keywords BFF and divorce under books.
My friends who send their sons to Northridge Prep have rave how refreshing it is to partner with a school that reinforces the traditional values you hold as parents. Here's what a current Northridge Prep mom had to say. As parents, we don't have a manual. A lot of the teachers here have seen years of boys. They are comforting. They share their knowledge and guidance and are willing to work with you. They're not judging. There's no looking at a boy and saying they're rambunctious. They've seen it all. It's nice to partner with a school that wants the best for your son and is on the same page. I truly feel that if I have a question, concern, or issue, there's always someone ready to listen and suggest ways I can help him at home and how they can support him. It's a great community of parents who are all in the same boat and feel the same way. You walk in and feel your son is taken care of. There's a warmth and a trust that comes from being a part of this community. Northridge Prep's open house is right around the corner on April 7th. Don't miss it. Register online today at northridgeprep.org. That's northridgeprep.org.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, aldermen who are in and out. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
24 degrees. Chicago elects its first African-American woman as mayor based on yesterday's primary. Former federal prosecutor Lori Lightfoot advancing with a win after yesterday's general election, collecting the most votes heading into the runoff.
Not every day that a little black girl in a low-income family from a segregated steel town makes the runoff to be the next mayor of the third largest city in the country.
Lightfoot, about 7,000 more votes than Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle, but Preckwinkle gaining enough votes to battle Lightfoot in an April 2nd runoff. Preckwinkle came in second in a field of 14 candidates. Mayoral candidate Paul Vallis himself surprised by the outcome of last night's election.
When you consider the money interest and the amount of money that the four machine candidates have spent on this race, that Lori Lightfoot, who has had a fraction of the money that these candidates have had collectively, would be the top vote getter.
The winner of the runoff replaces Mayor Rahm Emanuel, who chose not to run for a third term. Among those defeated, William Daley, Willie Wilson, Illinois Comptroller Susana Mendoza, and activist Amara Anya. In other news we're following this morning, the former Trump attorney Michael Cohen will testify today that the president knew about a meeting between Donald Trump Jr. and some Russian representatives.
And I look forward to tomorrow to being able to, in my voice, to tell the American people my story, and I'm going to let the American people decide.
He spoke after his closed-door meeting with the Senate Intelligence Committee yesterday. The Wall Street Journal reporting during his public testimony in the House Oversight Committee today, Cohen will detail alleged criminal conduct, he says, related to hush money payments to former adult actress Stormy Daniels. President Trump will soon meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Vietnam.
And on behalf of the United States, I want to thank you very much for hosting, and hopefully great things will happen later on with our meeting, but a lot of good things are happening before, and that's the signing of trade deals with the United States, and we appreciate it very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
The White House thanking their hosts in Vietnam and have been pushing for denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula ahead of this meeting. The Supreme Court will soon decide if a giant cross can remain standing on public land. Today, the High Court hears a case about a cross in a Maryland suburb commemorating 49 servicemen who died in World War I. The United Methodist Church is rejecting proposals to allow local churches to perform same-sex weddings and to hire openly LGBT clergy. The vote will likely lead to some congregations leaving the denomination. Chicago police continue searching for a suspect in the deadly shooting of a Northside College prep student in Chicago, Emmanuel Gallegos. The mayor of Belvedere says there's never a good time for the community's largest employer to cut 1,300 jobs. Mayor Mike Chamberlain says his city is better equipped than 2008 to lose a shift at the local Chrysler Fiat plant. Blackhawks take on the Ducks tonight and begin a 3-game West Coast road swing. Bulls tackle the Grizzlies tonight. Kyle Long giving back to the Bears. The right guard agreeing to restructure his contract with the team. The new deal creates salary cap space and will keep him in Chicago for years to come. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Do you own or run a thriving business in the Chicagoland area? Have you overcome obstacles to make your business what it is today? If that's your business, then AM 560 wants to tell your story on the AM 560 Business Tour, presented by Signature Bank. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson will be broadcasting live from businesses all around Chicagoland, telling success stories of thriving, successful businesses. Hey, if that's you, tell us about it. Visit 560theanswer.com/business and submit your information. That's 560theanswer.com/business.
It's Dr. David Kolbaba. It's our winter survival kit for this cold and flu season. It's power-packed with natural ingredients, and unlike the flu shot, it's safe and effective. First, it's our Sunny C 1000. It's highly absorbable, and it does not suppress your body's natural killer cells like most other vitamin C supplements do. And when you purchase your first bottle of our Sunny C 1000, I promise to include scientific data to back it up. And I'll also include a vitamin C dosage chart for you to customize how much is best for you, whether you're fighting off a cold or flu or you want a preventative dose to keep you from getting a cold or flu. Sunny C 1000, it's easy on the stomach and it's essential in fighting illness. And when you order your Sunny C 1000 today, be sure to get more information on the rest of our winter survival kit. Call 800-794-1855. It's our Health Quest Radio hotline. And be sure to listen to Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11. But for now, that number again, 800-794-1855.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson. Spring is going to be here soon, and it's the perfect time to take notice of any paint issues. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters right away to take care of your home. Our front porch and back porches were chipping and peeling, just an eyesore. But CertaPro Painters swooped in and made a huge difference. They also painted a majority of our rooms in our house, the quality, service, and attention to detail like no other paint company. You know, spring is the season of change. Time to change your wall color or exterior and transform your home with an updated new look. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered with in-home color consultation or online with a color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting expert. Schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
5:37, a check on the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Telemonti.
There is some snow to the north. Be careful where roads are slippery. Right now, the Chicago expressways look pretty good. We're seeing the usual slow pockets inbound Stevenson, tight Cicero to Kedzie. That's about a 2-minute delay right now. Inbound Ryan has a 2-minute delay from 18th to Burns Circle. I-57 still good. Bishop Ford got a 2 or 3 minute delay before Cottage Grove to the merge. Edens is still fine. Kennedy looking good. The Eisenhower, just a tad bit of congestion around Des Plaines Avenue. Not a real significant delay at this point. Tollways are okay right now. No delays to report on I-80 or in northwest Indiana. There's a crash in Bolingbrook on 53 north of Lilycash. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Bit of snow this morning. Storm totals about an inch or two, especially to the north, and a high of 33. 24 right now. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I want to expand the perimeter. We're looking for people who participated in last night's election, yesterday's election in Chicago, people who voted to call in and give us their take on the results. But, of course, that's a very small universe, so
I mean,
anybody in Chicagoland can call in and give us their perspective on results. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
This is what makes me mad. According to Jim Allen, the Chicago Board of Elections spokesman, only 27% of registered voters turned out yesterday. Why? You sit here and you complain and you bitch about the property taxes and nothing's good enough, and then you don't even go and vote? I mean, I worked phones yesterday calling people, reminding them, go vote. New people that moved in the neighborhood, I said, you can go. You have same-day registration. Yeah. Oh, that's the same reaction I got from them.
Yeah, well, because...
shame on Chicago.
Because fatalism has set in. And
it was snowing.
And the idea that, as I said prior to Mike Scott's news, that any of the candidates is going to represent a departure from what we've been doing for 100 years. Come on. Come on. Does anybody believe that? Do you believe that? Do you believe Lori Lightfoot or Tony Preckwinkle? Either one of them is going to chart a different course than we've charted previously, other than to, go further left. I mean, what did Tony Preckwinkle talk about? Progressive values, socialism.
Yeah, that's what she did.
Because I remember when progressive wasn't a positive.
It isn't again.
It was at best a euphemism for unelectable. Those of us who proudly claimed it had to fight to transform the political landscape to make it clear that the people's values are progressive values.
Yeah. She's Comrade Bernie in comfortable shoes. Yeah. I mean, that's what she is. So, why don't you vote, participate? Why? I mean, I did, but I mean, I understand the idea of throwing up your hands and saying, I'm just biding my time. I'm looking for a way out, which is what people are actually doing. A lot of people are actually doing.
Willie Wilson, who was endorsed by Northwestern Republican Party?
Northwest Side GOP, Chicago YRs, Cook County Republicans.
Yeah, he was gracious in his concession speech.
I appreciate the fact that the chairman of the Republican for the party of the Cook County has supported us, and also the young Republican as well. All right?
All right.
And I believe that it has to be Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Muslim, all different faith, all different parties to bring this city together. All right?
I mean, I love Willie, but come on. We've heard that rap before. We've heard that rap from everybody.
They had a political commentator on WGN last night who blamed Paul Vallis for Willie Wilson's loss. It said if Paul had not run, he should not have run, all of those Republican votes would have gone to Willie Wilson. Well, but you know what? If he added those numbers up, he still doesn't have enough for a runoff.
That sort of handicapping is just it's tiresome. Everybody has a right and an opportunity to run. Mm-hmm. You run, then that's the landscape you're dealing with. Paul Vallis has as much right as Willie Wilson has to run, and Willie Wilson has as much right as Jerry Joyce has to run, and on down the line. The Monday morning quarterbacking of if all of these other opponents would have cleared the field for my preferred candidate would have won. Well, okay, I'm sure, right. I mean, of course, that's not particularly compelling. Here's the thing, though. Here's why you're not getting, elections are about the future, so let's talk a little bit about the future. Here's why you're not going to see a change in the future. Worst housing market, top 200 urban centers in the country, projected for 2019. Highest property taxes in the nation. One of the highest rates of violent crime per capita in the country, certainly for a big city. A middle income strata that is gone, functionally gone over the last 35 years, because we still are tethered to central planners. We still are poisoned by the magical thinking of politicians like Tony Preckwinkle or even Lori Lightfoot having some secret knowledge about managing the affairs of 3 million people. And until you break from that, it's not a new program. It's not a new institution. It's a new mentality in Chicago. And there are little rays of hope, okay? And they come in the form of saying, at least we're not going to go with the men and women of always anymore. Now, Preckwinkle is one of them.
Right. She's a Democratic machine.
Right. But Lightfoot is not. So, I'm just looking for little rays, little sprinkles
Yes,
of
that's
hope.
me. You're mocking me.
Right. No, I am.
I know.
I'm looking for.
I'm looking for. I'm voting. I'm going to be supporting Lori Lightfoot.
Well, I'll vote for Lori Lightfoot over Preckwinkle too. But that's not my point. I'm just saying in terms of anything fundamentally changing. This is supposed to be about like the quality of our community and the lives we live within it. So that's the real question. It's not some cult of personality contest between a couple of politicians. I don't care, how history-making they are. That's very interesting for them. It's much less interesting for me and my particular interests. So, this is a city and a state that can't focus on what's important for some reason. But when you have the business community and all of the other civic institutions thrown with big government, and you have the opposition party thrown with big government, the Republican Party in this state, this is what you get. You're going to get a choice between two socialists. So, to some extent, I would say, yes, there is a virulent strain of Stockholm Syndrome that afflicts the city. But there are opportunities there if you wanted to present. If people who know better and have the wherewithal to help us do better wanted to present an alternative vision for the city and the state, there is opportunity there. There is some indication that people recognize this isn't working, spectacularly isn't working, and they're willing to contemplate something different and something better. And frankly, you saw it in the wards.
Oh, yeah. Proco Joe Moreno.
Gropo Joe.
There is a God. He was beat by Banana Boy. La Spada.
Exactly. And I hope he wears that banana costume as alderman. That's his uniform.
That's a signature thing.
So Gropo Joe is gone. Foie Gras Boy Joe Moore is gone.
Areno. John Areno.
John Arena.
Arena, excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, why get to know his name? He's gone.
Public tenement proponent.
Right.
John Arena. He's gone.
But one guy that's not is Alderman Ed Burke. He crushed the competition. And I don't know if you saw this last night, but he wouldn't even let reporters in to his party. They had to stand outside in the cold.
Well, you got to pay to get into Ed Burke's party.
Well, he wouldn't let any reporters in because they might ask questions about his indictment.
Tony on the South Side. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hey, Tony.
Hey, how you doing, guys? I'm going to do a little morning math. 27% Amy Lamb, is that what you said came out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That leaves you what, 73%? Okay, I agree with Dan. Fatalism, cool. I think those are 73% of people in the city of Chicago that are leaving. They're not sticking around. They're done.
Agreed.
Imagine that.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding. Even if it's not 73%, say it's half of that. I mean, still, that's a big number. So it's just a shame. It's a shame. I mean, I grew up in the city, and I moved out years ago into the suburbs. Now I got to move out of the state, so it is what it is, guys. Good luck. Go, Lori.
All right. Hey, bye, Tony. Bye.
See you later.
Please send for us. Greg in Jefferson Park.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, you know what I find funny, too, about Lori Lightfoot? I read this past Saturday's paper, the Trib, about how she wants to impose another 1% to 2% hotel tax to give grants for all the artists, to keep the artists in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, she lost one of her biggest supporters, although he was a Preckwinkle supporter, John Arena. I can't tell you how happy I am that this guy's going. The only question I got is the guy who won the 45th Ward, Jim Gardner, who was an EMT with the fire department. His campaign office was like less than 2 blocks away from Arena's house, and I'm only wondering, when John Arena got loaded last night after losing, did he go home and beat his wife like he did before?
Okay, thanks for the call, Greg. And by the way, 45th Ward, I mean, in terms of softening John Arena up, you got to give some credit to effectively Republicans there, and John Garrido running twice against Arena. And that maybe look, competition, making the argument, narrow losses, but you had a constituency that said this Arena guy is the wrong guy for the ward, and ultimately they made that choice last night. Bert in Lake Zurich.
Yeah. Hey, just wanted to give you my perspective. I lived in the city. My family was in the city in the 47th Ward for 110 years. My wife and I just moved out last year because we just couldn't take it anymore. It's the crime, the taxes, the potholes, all that. The progressive liberals basically drove you out of your own home because basically you were. The feeling was you're no longer wanted here. You need to get out. So the thing that we've talked about, we've spent hundreds of hours talking about, is when is it going to happen that these people are finally thrown out of office? And the answer is, I doubt it will ever happen because these people that live in the 47th Ward, the Lakefront Yuppies, the progressives, they don't live here. And my explanation for that is they may have a condo here, they may work here, they may hang out here, but in terms of where they live, if you ever actually look at their driver's licenses, the license plates on their cars, where they're registered to vote, they're all still tethered back home to Michigan, Colorado, Minnesota, or wherever the hell these people come from. And so the idea is, will they ever get fed up enough to vote these people out of office and save the city from going into doomsday? It will never happen because when doomsday does occur, they just get up and move, just like they do with everything else, and they're going to go to some other location where they'll destroy that place.
Yeah.
Thank you for my call.
Thanks for the call, Bert.
Thank you for your call.
Like Locust. Well, here's the thing too. There's a great tweet about this about Ed Burke winning and not even having to face a runoff. Chicago is where you can be indicted in January and reelected in February.
That's good.
That's very good.
Great tweet.
Paul in Plainfield.
Hey, I just want to know, Dan, who do you think the money people are going to go after, Lightfoot or Preckwinkle?
Well, I think.
Who's Daley going to back? Who's Daley going to back? Who's Willie Wilson going to back?
That's a really good question. I think, look, the public sector unions in big finance are not going to be on the same side. So I would suggest that, more of the daily financiers would probably swallow hard and go with go with Lightfoot against Preckwinkle to the extent that they are going to do anything because other than plan their relocation, because you're just not going to see C-suiters in bed with SEIU, and that's what Tony Preckwinkle is, SEIU. Thanks for the call, Paul. By a couple other aldermanic notes, the Ricketts took one on the chin. Their challenge of Tom Tunney didn't go anywhere.
No, he's got more than 66% of the vote, so he's fine.
So Tom Tunney will continue to be up the butts of the Rickettses every day. So
yeah,
just
and
so
Mayor
you know
Emanuel was at his little function last night, his little soiree.
That's cute. And then the young upstart 19-year-old DePaul student we've had on the show, David Krupa, he got wiped out by Marty Quinn. I mean, it's like running against Madigan. You can make all the arguments, and rational people can say, I agree with you. And then it's just a matter where in these little hamlets, whether it's Madigan's legislative district or Marty Quinn's 13th Ward, it's just a controlled vote. There's just too many people that are, frankly, I don't want to say on the take, but I just said it. But that's not. They're just completely beholden to the local politician. They are serfs to the feudal lord, and they're just not going to break, no matter how much sense it makes, because their financial interests are just inextricably linked to the current power structure or the feudal lord, as I said. So it's a great thing that David Krupa did in trying to fight the machine, as it were, but didn't happen. Tom in Deer Park.
Yeah, I'll take a stab. It's the usual voter apathy. Voter apathy is broad spectrum, city, suburbs, left, right, Democrat, Republican, tenant, homeowner. People don't care. So I'll go with what I've been running with the last month in my latest theory that explains everything via the Noah Rothman, the intersectionality. And we got two ladies, both black, both maybe gay, and both female. So that hits 3 or 4 nails on the head right there. So that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, thanks
for
the call,
I will tell you something
Tom.
cute. Eli last night when he saw Tony, he said, "Is that a guy or a girl?" Because it's Tony. Tony could be a guy or a girl.
Does anybody know? Were you able to answer the question? Paul in Lake Forest.
2 African-American self-loathers running a sanctuary city. What could go wrong? But here's why this will never change here. Dan, and I voted in the 42nd Ward yesterday.
From Lake Forest?
Brendan
They got a
Riley
polling
is
place there?
He's at work. Yeah, go on.
It is, but it's already filled out.
Yeah, exactly.
I go in to vote, and Brendan Riley has got to be a bigger crook than Rahm, right? He sold our streets to the valet guys. He voted for the $200 million bike lanes.
Mm-hmm.
He built up the Riverwalk with the TIF money that we'll never see a cent of tax benefit from that. Brendan Riley ran unopposed.
Yeah, I know.
There's not a guy in the 42nd Ward that likes them, except the valet guys, El Chapo's family. It's the only guys that like Brendan Riley.
You should have run
El Chapo's, that's an unnecessary shot at the valet guys, Paul. Thanks for the call, but I appreciate your point. He's right about that. By the way, it's a good rundown of the 42nd Ward. There's many more there. We have a notorious drunk as the 42nd Ward alderman, the richest ward in the city, all the commerce there, the restaurants, and no opposition. Right, because who wants to be the janitor for the 42nd Ward if you're a professional like Paul is, or frankly, like I am, because I live in the 42nd Ward too. It's just, it's hard to get people to want to do that because what's the upside? Be part of this? If you're somebody that has any talent or skill sets, why would you want to be an alderman? Mike on the north side.
Hey, good morning. First off, let's not demean anyone and call them a notorious drunk. That was the name of my high school cover band.
Yeah, was that Huey Lewis in the News?
Yeah, there you go. Oh, man, I haven't worked in precinct in 20 years, but, this year I went out because my alderman was being challenged by El Gallito's daughter. And I had homeowners who were, oh, yeah, I'm coming out. They didn't come out. Had all these millennials and all these living in Ma's basement dwellers come out, and all these people that couldn't speak English. I was put in a precinct that was 85% Hispanic, which means me and my Make America Great hand again is going to go over real well. I won my precinct by 22 votes, but the rest of the people didn't carry their precincts. Now I have to go to a runoff. Amy, I'm going to need you to come on weekends and campaign with me. Speak some Spanish to these people.
Yeah.
People are buying houses by Steinmetz High School. They're putting big money into them, and they don't even come out to vote.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Mike. And you're right. He's right, Amy. He could use a little help. His charming personality is not going to be enough to defeat El Gallito's daughter.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
As a parent, you want what's best for your children. That means sending them to a school where they'll get the superior education they deserve, and that also shares your values. That can be tricky these days, as public schools have changed and private schools can be expensive. Your household budget has already been cut to the bone, and it's hard to imagine where you'll find that extra money. Well, there's help to lessen that financial burden and provide your child with the very best education at half the cost. At AM 560, The Answer, we work with private schools throughout the Chicagoland area to provide tuition for families at half the normal cost. Just log on to halfpriceschools.com and you'll find some of Chicagoland's finest private schools, from preschool all the way through high school, at half the cost. And chances are there's a school right in your neighborhood. Invest in your child's education and future at halfpriceschools.com. A limited number of half-price vouchers are available. Go to halfpriceschools.com now.
You've spent a lot of time and energy getting everything perfect with the planning and construction of your new property, but something's still missing. The interior and exterior of the structure turned out as planned, but there's still something you may not have even thought of until now. And it makes a big difference. The landscape. That's where AM Woodland Design makes the outdoors come alive to put that final detail on your build. Whether you're a commercial developer or custom home builder, AM Woodland Outdoor Design will put the finishing touches on your properties to make a complete and flawless presentation that will impress. As always, the expert team at AM Woodland Outdoor Design will guide you through every step of the process and provide quality service with integrity and reliability every time.
A.M. Woodland Outdoor Design, proudly serving Lake, Northern Cook, and Kenosha counties, helping make the communities they grew up in as beautiful as they can be. Visit amwoodland.com, that's amwoodland.com, or call 847-224-2167.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
This is a Fox News alert. Dinner with Chairman Kim. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. President Trump in Hanoi, Vietnam, is with the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un for a brief chat and something to eat before their second formal summit tomorrow. Live in Hanoi, here's Fox's Simon Owen.
Chris, President Trump and Kim Jong-un shaking hands in front of a dozen American and North Korean flags, their first greeting of this two-day summit. They smiled as they spoke, then sat down and briefly addressed reporters.
Well, I wanted to say it's an honor to be with Chairman Kim. It's an honor to be together.
The president saying a lot of progress has been made in the crisis over North Korea's nuclear weapons, although critics say not much has changed since the leaders' first meeting last year. Chris?
Simon, President Trump will be accused of lying and of criminal activity by his former attorney Michael Cohen in his sworn public testimony in Congress today. The president and his supporters point out Cohen's a convicted liar himself. Fox's Rachel Sutherland's in Washington with a preview of today's hearing.
Chris, in prepared remarks for the House Oversight Committee, Cohen calls President Trump a racist, a con man, and a cheat. He's expected to tell lawmakers that his former client knew about the WikiLeaks email dump in advance and about the 2016 Trump Tower meeting with a Russian lawyer who promised but failed to deliver dirt on Hillary Clinton. Cohen also expected to bring financial statements and a copy of a check he says the president wrote to him from his personal bank account to cover hush money he paid to an adult film actor. Chris?
Rachel, thank you. Pakistan has closed its airspace and reports that its military has shot down 2 Indian jets that flew over the border, capturing 2 pilots. The Indian government confirms 1 plane was shot down with a pilot missing in action. The planes reportedly went down 1 on each side of the border. Pakistan's prime minister is suggesting talks to de-escalate the rising tension between those 2 countries. This is Fox News.
Cloudy skies, snow, and freezing rain in the far western and northern suburbs. 24 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago will be electing its first African-American woman as mayor. Former federal prosecutor Lori Lightfoot advancing, winning the most votes in yesterday's general election.
Not every day that a little black girl in a low-income family from a segregated steel town makes the runoff to be the next mayor of the 3rd largest city in the country.
Lightfoot and runner-up Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle will face off against each other April 2nd. Mayoral candidate Paul Vallis surprised by the outcome of last night's election.
When you consider the money interest and the amount of money that the 4 machine candidates have spent on this race, that Lori Lightfoot, who has had a fraction of the money that these candidates have had collectively, would be the top vote getter.
The Machines candidate, William Daley, who's never held major elected office but featured the most famous surname in the race, was defeated, along with outsider businessman Willie Wilson, comptroller Susana Mendoza, and activist Amara Enya. They rounded out the top vote getters. Voters are giving Chicago Alderman Ed Burke a 13th term in spite of legal trouble. Byron Lopez and Alex Acevedo will do battle in the April 2nd runoff to replace disgraced 25th Ward Alderman Danny Solis. Maria Haddon is the new 49th Ward Alderwoman after unseating longtime incumbent Joe Moore. Daniel Laspada takes over as 1st Ward Alderman after beating Proco Joe Moreno. 44th Ward Alderman Tom Tunney won re-election despite opposition supported by the owners of the Chicago Cubs. In other news we're following this morning, Chicago police are searching for the suspect in a deadly shooting of a Northside College prep student, 17-year-old Emmanuel Gallegos. A 30-year Illinois public school veteran has been named Illinois State School Superintendent. Carmen Ayala was introduced after the State Board of Education approved her hiring at its meeting in Springfield. Blackhawks on the West Coast taking on the Ducks tonight. Bulls are visiting the Grizzlies. Diamondbacks beat the Cubs in spring ball, while the White Sox beat the Royals 9-7. The news service of La Quinta Inns and Suites. Get a boost and stay at La Quinta by Wyndham. You can recharge 5 devices in room and recharge yourself with a pillow top mattress and a bright side breakfast. Book now at LQ.com and win it business. 6:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It either is or it isn't. When it comes down to it, that's all that really matters when choosing a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz. It's either certified by Mercedes-Benz factory-trained technicians or it isn't. It's either backed by an unlimited mileage warranty for up to 5 years or it isn't. It's absolute confidence in 30,000 precision parts or it isn't. The Mercedes-Benz Certified Pre-Owned Sales Event, now through February 28th, only at your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. Come in today and we'll help cover your first month's payment. Offer available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. There are those who settle for nothing less. For them, the choice is simple. It's either up to Mercedes-Benz standards or it isn't. It's flawlessly maintained or it isn't. It's either Mercedes-Benz Certified Pre-Owned or it isn't.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on credit towards your first month's payment and certified pre-owned warranties.
Some job recruitment sites overload your inbox with resumes. Glassdoor knows not just any will do. From 62 million job seekers, Glassdoor only matches you with qualified candidates who have the skills and experience your small business needs to grow. In fact, Glassdoor hires are 30% more likely to stay with your company longer. And Glassdoor can help you find that perfect candidate in half the resumes. Go to glassdoor.com/hire. Glassdoor. Find the right fit for your business.
You know what's fun? Refunds! And using my tax refund to save big at Family Dollar, where you can save $5, $10, and $20 with Family Dollar Smart Coupons. This week, 12-pack Pepsi products, buy 3 for $10. Angel Soft Bath Tissue or Sparkle Paper Towels, $4.50. And Tide Liquid or Pods, $2.95 with your Family Dollar Smart Coupons. Sign up today. Download our app or visit FamilyDollar.com, where Family Dollar is refund.
Message and data rates may apply. Do you want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses right here in Chicago? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll be introduced to our 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Chicago area who want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Chicago is a perfect market for my system, and this week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where we'll share how to get started making money flipping houses and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited, so text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000 right now, because this free ticket offer expires this Friday. Just text your zip code to 82,000.
It's the final week of Staples Chair Event. Save up to 40% on a huge selection of chairs for your home or office. Now, the Staples Merit Desk Chair is just $99.99. That's a $70 savings. Ends 3/2/19 while supplies last. Staples.
6:08. Let's get a check on the roads in the AM 560 traffic center. And here is Jim Talamonte.
The commute is getting quite challenging north of Chicago and Lake Forest. 41 is closed right now between 176 and Gage Lane. The roadway is slick. There have been several collisions. There's one on northbound 41 at Washington as well. The Edens Expressway is okay. Kennedy inbound traffic's heavy Austin to Central. It's just 23 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 21. Inbound Eisenhower, it's heavy Manheim to Austin and Western to the Burns Circle. 36 minutes, 390 to downtown, outbound 30. Bound Stevenson delays start around Harlem, 42 minutes, 355 to the drive. Ryan, 20 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 16 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 30. Tollways are okay. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
A bit of snow this morning, little or no accumulation. Some freezing drizzle possible, too. Clouds in a high 33. Partly cloudy, cold tonight, low 11. Cloudy and chilly, some snow tomorrow afternoon. Little or no accumulation, high 29. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Still clouds in the greater Chicagoland area. 24 at O'Hare, 25 along the lakefront. Next news, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Make sure to check out the Income Store live video stream of today's show right now at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and D.C. is abuzz with the prospect of Michael Cohen's testimony before Congress today. A copy of his statement released, at least I saw it in the New York Times last night.
Oh, yeah, it was released. It's 20 pages, and it's a must-read.
This is
it's like a soap opera script.
Testimony Cohen is going to give before the Oversight and Reform Committee in the House today, in which he says...
Where do you want to start, Dan?
Well, the beginning is always a good place.
Okay.
I'm ashamed of my own failings. I'm ashamed of my weakness and misplaced loyalty. I'm ashamed that I chose to take part in concealing Mr. Trump's illicit acts rather than listening to my own conscience. Yeah. I'm ashamed because I know what Mr. Trump is. He is a racist. He is a con man. He is a cheat.
End of scene. Drop mic. Fade to black.
Yeah. Now, we could take each one of these in turn.
Oh, yeah.
For Mr. Cohen's development of the accusations. He's a racist. The country has seen Mr. Trump court white supremacists and bigots. You've heard him call poor countries S-holes. In private, he's even worse. He once asked me if I could name a country run by a black person that wasn't an S-hole. That was when Barack Obama was president. While we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. And he told me that black people would never vote for him because they were too stupid. And yet I continued to work for him.
Yeah, and that common theme. Yet I continue to work for him. Paragraph by paragraph. This is just a hit job against President Trump. I mean, this guy was disbarred. Well, obviously, and then he's going to jail for 3 years. And they're letting him testify before Congress after he already lied to the Senate Intel Committee. And, oh, by the way, he went back to them yesterday in a closed-door meeting.
Mm-hmm.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey .pro answer line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. What do you make of this soap opera script?
So there's he is a racist. Mr. Trump is a cheat. Here, racist, cheat, racist, con man, and cheat. So I just want to, give you Michael Cohen's version of events. Mr. Trump is a cheat, says Cohen. I'm giving the committee today 3 years of Trump's financial statements from 11 to 13, which he gave to Deutsche Bank to inquire about a loan to buy the Buffalo Bills. It was my experience that Trump inflated his total assets when it served his purposes, such as trying to be listed among the wealthiest people in Forbes, and deflated his assets to reduce his real estate taxes. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how groundbreaking that is. Mr. Trump, he talks about like auction of a portrait of Trump.
Yeah, that he arranged a fake bidder to purchase the portrait and use the funds from the Trump's charitable organization. It was $60,000. It was the last painting up for auction, and President Trump allegedly wanted to make sure that someone was there to buy it and bid high.
Yeah.
Yawn.
Number three, Mr. Trump is a con man. Let's get to it. Racist, con man, and cheat. I just want to let Michael Cohen have a say here, because you're going to have this blaring across the screens of all the cable news networks. This is.
Well, they're falling all over each other. They were so happy, smiling ear to ear on CNN this morning. I couldn't believe it.
Well, this is Chiron Xanadu for them. Mr. Trump is a con man. Michael Cohen will testify. He asked me to pay off an adult film star with whom he had an affair, and to lie to his wife about it, which I did. Lying to the First Lady is one of my biggest regrets.
Drama. She doesn't deserve this. She's a lovely woman.
I respect her greatly. Oh, clearly.
Well, he said President Trump made 11 payments of $35,000 to reimburse him in the hush money scheme.
Check what? Yeah, one of 11. Right. Yes.
Which I've maintained all along. He didn't need to do that because the American people did not care if he was a philanderer or not, because everybody already thought that he was.
Mm-hmm.
Happened 10 years ago. He did not need to make payments to those ladies, but all right.
Yeah.
So he did, but is that illegal, Dan?
Well, I mean, we've had this discussion before because what Michael Cohen is saying here is nothing new and nothing that hasn't been reported and poured over in excruciating detail, including by us. And so we've gone back and forth about whether this could possibly be a campaign violation, and that's what the Southern District of New York is investigating in part. And then to the actual money part of the testimony, if you will. I mean, I know the salacious thing is what the D.C. Press Corps will focus on as the real interesting thing because it's gratuitous, and so it's fun for them to take shots at Trump. But remember, this is all about colluding with the Russians to fix the 2016 election. Questions have been raised about whether I know of direct evidence that Mr. Trumper's campaign colluded with Russia. I do not. But I have my suspicions. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, Michael, I love you, Michael, but your suspicions and your uncorroborated allegations, generally speaking, are not exactly dispositive of the case before us. So you're a fascinating individual, and I'd love to hear you hold court, in perpetuity. But do I have direct evidence that Mr. Trumper's campaign colluded with Russia? I do not.
I do. Yeah, that's an open shut case.
Okay. And then he goes into talking about soul searching and all that stuff. And, I'm so interested in Michael Cohen's spiritual journey of redemption.
But yet I stayed with him. Talk to Cohen also says he provided the committee with copies of letters he wrote threatening Trump's high school, college, and college board not to release his grades or test scores.
Yeah.
Who cares? You don't think President Obama did that?
Well, I mean,
that's why we never saw his grades from Occidental. You never.
Well, I don't know about threatening letters, but I mean, we didn't get transcripts.
No, it's whatever. And then he provided information about avoid serving in the Vietnam War. So Cohen was was directed to avoid answering reporters' questions about the matter. Trump, who has long claimed his deferment was due to a bone spur, had no medical records to provide because there was no surgery, Cohen said.
Yeah, I think this was also addressed during the campaign. And here's the thing. Very few people have ever suggested Trump as some heroic figure. I mean, in terms of the life he led on so many fronts prior to being president. But that's not what the left is trying to do. They're trying to say he's a criminal because he's done bad things. He's a criminal because he's done immoral things. He's a criminal because he's cheated on his wife. He should be impeached because he, used the resources at his disposal to avoid going to Vietnam.
And he apparently told Cohen, "You think I'm stupid? I wasn't going to Vietnam." That's what Cohen recalls. And this, of course, is happening while President Trump is in Vietnam.
And by the way,
how convenient. And the left is going to be all over that today.
So he's a racist, he's a con man, he's a cheat. There's probably a lot more stories that a lot of other people have throughout the course of Trump's 70 years on this planet that could further Michael Cohen's accusations. Unfortunately, they're not germane. We can talk about it. You can say, do I want a moral leader to occupy the Oval Office? We've tried to have that discussion. Most people say character doesn't matter in politics anymore. I'm not one of them, which is why I wasn't a Trump supporter in the primary. However, that is not an impeachable offense. And there's, you'll note for the record, a lot of precedent on this topic with previous presidents, isn't there? And so this is why the emphasis is on the incendiary, like Trump is a racist. What was the discussion on CNN over the weekend with Don Lemon and his mighty art players? Former Ebony editor-in-chief Kima Mayo, I think is her name. Here's what she had to say.
But I don't really think that the president sees black people as fully human. I don't think he sees us as having agency, intelligence, as noted by his comment about Spike. He wishes he could read. There's always some subtle suggestion that black people need to catch up, keep up. And if it were not for his graciousness, if it were not for his attentiveness, his loving kindness, we would be in a hell of a place. But, clearly most African Americans, I think, are offended by most of the president's language, by most of his conversation, and certainly by the thing every night, every clip just leaves most African Americans feeling, this is a person who actively hates me. This is a person who hates people who look like me. And despite these individual one-off wins, I think we're clear that the legacy of Donald Trump and the future of Donald Trump is one and the same. He is racist.
There you go. Now, of course, since we're going back and sawing sawdust, we've played this next clip before. When did Trump become a racist? When did the switch get flipped? I'm just trying to pinpoint it. And I welcome...
When he got the Republican nod for president.
That's it.
Because during the primary, I don't remember him being racist. I remember people saying other things like he's sexist and,
I mean, here's the thing about Trump, right? He's got this 30 years in the public eye prior to being president of the United States.
And some very lovely portraits to prove it.
That's right. Magazine covers, some real, some invented. But also, a lot of friends. A lot of friends when he was on Celebrity Apprentice. A lot of friends as a real estate impresario in New York.
And he donated a lot to Democratic candidates.
And he was feted by some of these friends at the time. Feted. The racist, Donald Trump. He thinks black people are less than human, according to the former editor-in-chief of Ebony. Really? Well, Jesse Jackson didn't say that 30 years ago when he welcomed President Trump to an Operation Push banquet in New York and gave him the dais.
I now want to bring forth a friend who has, he is deceptive in that his social style is of such. One can miss his seriousness and his commitment, for his success is beyond argument. When we opened this Wall Street project and we talked about it, he gave us space at 40 Wall Street, which was to make a statement about our having a presence there. And beyond that, in terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And created for many people a comfort zone when I ran for the presidency in 84 and 88. And many others thought it was either laughable or something to avoid. He came to our business meeting here in New York because he has this sense of the curious and a will to risk to make things better. And so aside from all of his style and his pizzazz, he's a serious person who's an effective builder of building for the builder of people. Last year he was a part of our workshop, of our panel workshop on what are the challenges and opportunities. And so a year later, Donald Trump, for a few minutes, challenges and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
What about it? I would love to get a response from the, race racketeers that populate CNN panels. Just pinpoint it for me, and then provide the evidence. Because otherwise, all you have is he's a racist, he's a cheat, he's a con man. I mean, you can't. There is nothing that has been provided and will be provided by Michael Cohen or anyone else to this point, to our knowledge in the public. Mueller may have more, but not what we've seen, other than foundation-free accusations. And that's in Cohen's testimony again today. He was a presidential candidate who knew that Roger Stone was talking with Julian Assange about a WikiLeaks drop of DNC emails. Yeah, well, here's the problem, Michael. Roger Stone wasn't indicted for
that.
Any kind of
Russian collusion, not at all.
Treasonous behavior. He was indicted for process crimes after the fact, just like you were.
And Dan, we might learn something about Michael Cohen. Congressman Gates tweeted out, "Hey, Michael Cohen, do your wife and father-in-law know about your girlfriends? Maybe tonight would be a good time for that chat. I wonder if she'll remain faithful when you're in prison." Ooh, She's about to learn a lot, ...
Wow.
Ouch. And
That's
they called that witness intimidation, then he had to apologize.
I call that the pulling the Pentangeli.
He's just thinking of the family first, man. That's what he was doing.
Matt Gaetz pulling a Pentangeli. I love it. Jim in Tampa, Florida.
Good morning, guys. If the switch was flipped when he got the nomination, the machine that contains the switch was plugged in when he stood at the top of the escalator. But what I want to say is 2 years ago, when all the things that Cohen is saying were said in front of the American people, they had to choose between that and the potential of a great president. We chose that potential. 2 years later, all these accusations are 2 years older, nothing new, and we actually have a great president. I think the deal's even better now than it was then.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Greg in Schaumburg.
Trump will go up 1% organically, and after Diamond and Silk get a hold of this, 2% more. Give him 3.
That's great.
Thanks for the call, Greg. Diamond and Silk can move. They're always good for a point.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Dan in Libertyville.
Thanks for taking my call. This whole event to me is very troubling. I mean, this Cohen character is like a disgruntled employee that you fired, and he gets to come back and tell the board all the things he thinks he knows. But what's the bigger issue to me is when you think of privacy, the leftists have pierced what was a sacred thing, and that was that if you were talking with your attorney, you knew that your conversation was going to stay private. If you're someone facing a criminal charge now, can you really trust that what you say to your attorney is going to stay private? I don't think so.
Well, or hire better attorneys than Michael Cohen. Thanks for the call, Dan. Philip in Blue Island.
Is really Jesse Jackson, who's had a problem with race himself, especially in New York City, a value to somebody, especially when Donald Trump had the Central Park 5, the whole renting thing, didn't want to rent to black people, and there's other things, didn't want black people counting his money in casinos. So to act as if Donald Trump is some type of choir boy now is surprising to me. And I think
I'm not saying that. Yeah, the problem is I'm not saying that. This is the problem that of the left in general. I mean, you have to project onto people positions they don't have to buttress your argument.
I'm not saying that I'm just saying to act as if you don't know these things and to go on and act as if he's not a racist or not a con.
He's not a racist.
I mean, he's not? Okay,
No.
Okay. If a racist says a racist is a racist, who's right?
If a racist
says he's a racist.
That was on the SAT, wasn't it? If two trains leave
going 60 miles per hour.
and a racist is on the one in San Francisco and a racist who said, okay, Philip, you're going to have to explain your word problem.
Thank you. I know it would trip you up because, but
It's
again,
too deep.
if Cohen, I think that he knows Donald Trump is a racist, and I think that you all should take his word for it. He knows him better than you.
Sure, right. Convicted liar. Thanks for the call, Philip.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
When weather hits, the right wiper blades make all the difference. That's when the Michelin Man is on your side, helping you see better and drive safer with new Michelin Premium Wiper Blades. Designed with exclusive SmartFlex technology or frameless beam design, Michelin blades flex to the curve of your windshield, giving you unparalleled, streak-free, long-lasting, all-season performance. So when the going gets tough, be ready with Michelin Premium Wiper Blades. It's a difference you can see. Available at Walmart, Pep Boys, Amazon, and other fine retailers.
Oh, I'm excited to tell you about a deal on the already modestly priced MyPillow Giza Dream Bed Sheets. They use the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in the region between the Sahara Desert, Mediterranean, and Nile River. It's ultra soft, breathable, and extremely durable. It's better than Egyptian cotton, folks. I know because I have a few sets. They have deep pocket sheets that fit any mattress in 21-inch wide pillowcases. This is the real deal. They look good, they feel great, which means a better night's sleep, and you can still get the MyPillow 4-pack offer plus 30% off pet beds, mattress toppers. To get the Giza sheet, 30% off and free shipping offer or any other great deal, go to MyPillow.com, type Amy, A-M-Y, in that promo code, MyPillow.com.
When it's cold outside, you can dress for it.
But when your furnace gives out, hey, a blanket fort can only do so much. So call your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll replace your old furnace with a new high-efficiency one. And that beats a bunch of blankets any day. Right now, cozy up to big savings on a complete heating system. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Improving your home? Why not make it easy? Don't miss the free Home and Garden Show this weekend only at the Tinley Park Convention Center. Find the ultimate in savings and convenience with thousands of the latest home products and services for the freshest ideas to remodel, repair, and beautify your home, inside and out. Get trusted advice on your upcoming projects as you speak with local and national experts who will help you with all of your home improvement needs. And be sure to attend the free expert seminars and live cooking shows all weekend. See quality indoor and outdoor furniture, amazing deals on mattresses and adjustable beds, the latest appliances by Grand, and so much more. Plus, don't miss the huge plant sale by Ted's Greenhouse. And test drive the new Transit Connect by Ford right from the show. From interiors to exteriors, from decor to outdoor, you'll find it all at the huge Home and Garden Show this weekend at the Tinley Park Convention Center on Harlem Avenue north of I-80 with free admission and parking. For details, visit TinleyParkShow.com. That's TinleyParkShow.com.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions, don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
I just can't stop scratching. Struggling to get relief from itching due to your atopic dermatitis, also known as eczema? If so, you may qualify for a clinical study testing an investigational medication for the itch associated with atopic dermatitis. Qualified participants will receive study-related care at no charge. Call 1-844-777-4824, 1-844-777-ITCH, or visit advandastudy.com for more information on how to participate. Sponsored by Vanda Pharmaceuticals.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so being called a con man and a cheat by Michael Cohen is kind of like being called ugly by a frog. But speaking of con men's
I think frogs are nice.
and cheaters,
Yes.
let's do a little Chicago election review at 6:36. And to help us do that, we're going to be joined by our friend and Tribune columnist, John Cass.
Nice. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Chicago will be electing its first African-American woman as mayor. Former federal prosecutor Lori Lightfoot, the top vote getter. She'll face Toni Preckwinkle, the Cook County Board president, in an April 2nd runoff. Cook County Board president touted her experience over the opponent, Lori Lightfoot.
It's not enough to stand at a podium and talk about what you want to see happen. You have to come to this job with the capacity and the capability to make your vision a reality.
Among those defeated, William Daley, Willie Wilson, Susana Mendoza, and activist Amara Anya. Voters giving Chicago Alderman Ed Burke a 13th term in spite of his legal trouble.
Knocked on doors, walked the streets, and this has been going on since the summertime.
Burke with a re-election win over 14th Ward challengers Tanya Patino and Jamie Guzman. Chicago coming off an election that saw one of its lowest voter turnouts in history. As of this morning, 33.1% of registered voters cast ballots, slightly higher than when a record low of 33.08% cast ballots in 2007. The race for Chicago's next treasurer appears headed for a runoff as well this morning, as State Representative Melissa Ervin holds a slim lead over 47th Ward Alderman Amaya Pawar. President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un having dinner at this hour on day one of their high-stakes summit in Vietnam.
People would like to see it go quicker, satisfied, you're satisfied. We want to be happy with what we're doing. But I thought the first summit was a great success, and I think this one hopefully will be equal or greater.
Last year in Singapore, much of the focus was on denuclearization. Today's talks will begin those same round of talks. Michael Cohen in the spotlight on Capitol Hill today. The President's longtime personal lawyer and so-called fixer will have an open hearing with the House Oversight Committee. The House is scheduled to vote later today on major gun control legislation for the first time in a quarter century. While it may pass the House, the legislation likely will not be taken up by the Senate. In other news, Chicago police are searching for a suspect in a deadly shooting of a Northside College prep student, 17-year-old Emmanuel Gallegos. And a former Chicago Bear standout is now a federal agent. Sources informing the Chicago Tribune that Charles Tillman has graduated from the FBI's training academy. The ex-cornerback retired from the NFL in 2016, two-time Pro Bowler, NFL Man of the Year. Blackhawks begin a 3-game West Coast road swing tonight against the Ducks. Bulls visiting the Grizzlies. Cubs fell to the Diamondbacks 5-4 at Sloan Park, while the White Sox record their first Cactus League win, beating the Royals. The news service of Staples, with the supplies you need to run your business like a boss. Now save $70 on the Epson EcoTank 2750 printer, with up to 2 years' worth of ink included. Plus, trade in your old printer in-store and save an additional $30. Ends 3/2/19. See store for details. Staples. 6:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Hey, Cube mates. Anyone else looking forward to that exciting quarterly meeting today?
Sure. Another company lunch with bland sandwiches and a side of boring whatever. Can't wait.
Are you guys kidding? Obviously you haven't heard. We're having tasty catering today. Look out, I'm going to go grab my seat.
Get more out of your meetings and company events. It's time to get tasty. Tasty Catering's brand new corporate catering menu has the spice and flavor your team will love. Dine on menu items like a roasted vegetable hummus sandwich, honey sriracha pork chops, and all of their brand new chef creations. Powering productive meetings day or night, Tasty Catering professionals help you plan the perfect chef-crafted menu. Their leading chefs cook up your catering, then the Tasty Catering ambassadors deliver and set up for your event. When your team is finished experiencing their delicious meal, they come back to break it down and clean it all up. Simple and delicious. Visit tastycatering.com to get started today and find their brand new corporate menu along with comments from other Tasty Catering clients. tastycatering.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Jim Keene Jr. of the Mail House, Inc., a family-owned and operated digital print mail house with a specialty in political advertising and a customer of Signature Bank. We knew that getting a loan to buy our business wouldn't be easy, so we turned to one of our trusted friends for a referral. She told us about the outstanding level of customer service her business received at Signature Bank since becoming one of their first customers in 2006. Today, we couldn't be happier. Not only did Signature help us finance the purchase of the mail house, but they supported our growth as we modernized our operations in mailing as well as from traditional to digital printing. If you're looking for a great bank to grow your business, take a look at Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Varicose and spider veins. Wow, what a gift from my mom. She had them, I got them, and not only are they uncomfortable and sometimes painful, but I stopped wearing skirts and shorts because I was embarrassed and I really hated the way my legs looked. When my kids asked me, "What are those things on your legs?" I was done. I finally went to Vein Clinics of America. The procedure took about an hour and I was right back to work. What they're doing with lasers these days is unbelievable. The staff made me feel so comfortable, and the results, well, even my husband has noticed. Vein Clinics of America has been treating vein disease for over 35 years. They're the largest and most experienced in the U.S. Look, I've been doing the commercials for Vein Clinics for years because I really believe in them, and you can trust them too. The best part, my insurance covered the procedure, so stop hiding your legs. Call Vein Clinics of America now to see if you qualify for a free consultation. Call 800-375-8900, 800-375-8900. That's 800-375-8900.
Check out Ground Game, the latest podcast from the Associated Press discussing the top political issues around the country. Available on Apple Podcasts.
6:38 and a check of the roads in the AM 560 traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Travel conditions are now nasty north and northwest of Chicago and McHenry. Eastbound 120 is blocked
Chapel Hill and Crestwood. It's a rollover with injuries. Also a crash with injuries on Randall at Longmeadow. Algonquin is closed in Barrington Hills, Bateman and Helm, icy conditions. And 41 is shut down in Lake Forest, Gage Lane and 176. Southbound Tri-State at Central Road, there's a rollover reported. 8 and 22 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose. Kennedy, 29 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower, 40 minutes, 390 to Circle. Stevenson, 45 minutes, 355 to the Drive. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Bit of snow or freezing drizzle this morning. Storm totals could total up about an inch or two, high 33. 24 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by AM Woodland Outdoor Design. Design local, build local. They did build this. amwoodland.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer
No, not you. Not you. Your organization's terrible.
on AM 560.
You are fake news.
The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. A historic election last night in Chicago. Got 2 black female nominees or contestants now to be the next mayor of the city of Chicago. And the question is, it doesn't really matter. Other than checking a box saying we made history by electing a black female mayor of Chicago. Maybe a black gay female mayor of Chicago, of course, Lori Lightfoot. Or are we in Frost's poem, The Road Not Taken, where, of course, as you know, being a student of poetry, Amy.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
The Road Not Taken didn't matter. Didn't matter. Because you'll never really know, so why fret about it? However, we really will know in this case, because when the business and civic elites and the Fourth Estate, I'm talking to you, Tribune Editorial Board, Crane Chicago, throw in with the central planners, and then the opposition party surrenders and functionally ceases to exist, you're on the path to Marxism. And isn't that where Chicago's going? Let's hear from Tony and Lori and see if you can distinguish between the two.
Okay, ready? Here you go.
Because I remember when progressive wasn't a positive.
Still isn't.
It was at best a euphemism for unelectable. Those of us who proudly claimed it had to fight to transform the political landscape to make it clear that the people's values are progressive values.
Okay, so we have that.
And of course, I want to thank those who had the courage, and let me understand that, courage to stand with our campaign against the machine.
That's right.
Yeah. And then she went on to thank Robin Kelly and a region of the Illinois Education Association, the teachers union.
Right.
Lori Lightfoot petitioned for the support of CTU. She just didn't get it.
She did get endorsed by the Chicago Sun-Times.
Right, which is the AFL-CIO newspaper. So also, not present, but present in spirit, they're the ideological North Star of both of those ladies, I would suggest.
I think it's also fair to point out that when we were in Moscow, for example, I think most of the people here also were extremely impressed by their public transportation system. The stations themselves were absolutely beautiful, including many works of art, chandeliers that were beautiful. It was a very, very effective system. Also, I was impressed by the youth programs that they have, their palaces of culture for the young people, a whole variety of of programs for young people, and cultural programs which go far beyond what we do in this country. We went to a theater in Yaroslavl, which was absolutely beautiful, had 3 separate stages where cultural programs are put on by professional actors and actresses, including a puppeteer area. And the cost, the highest price of a ticket that you can get was the equivalent of $1.50.
So this is what you have to look forward to. You were going to have wonderful chandeliers and puppet shows, and the likes of Bernie Sanders will come to town, as he is coming to town. He literally is coming to town.
Yeah, Sunday, huge rally at your backyard.
The timing of this couldn't be more appropriate. And regale you with stories of awe and wonder at the marvels of central planning. This is Bernie Sanders 30 years ago talking about the Soviet Union. And, I mean, listen to the cant that spills out of those holes in the middle of these people's heads. It is mindless. There is no mind there. There is just buzzwords and catchphrases and propaganda that runs 180 degrees counter to the reality on the ground, which is what you heard particularly from Toni Preckwinkle last night, as she told you, Chicago, of all that she's done, these 30 years she spent in public office. And what does Chicago have to show for it? Worst black unemployment rate of any major city, worst housing market of any major city, worst violent crime problem of any urban center, one of the worst school systems in the country, a sex abuse scandal that has gone unattended for at least a decade, and that's just the Tribune reporting. The only major city in the country losing population, highest tax burden in the city. Shall I go on? That's what you get. So that's what we're going to get, isn't it? For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by Chicago Tribune's John Kass, famed columnist of the Chicago Tribune. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sorry I was slitting my wrists while you were talking about all the great things that are going to happen.
All right, well, bandage those wrists up and
stop the bleeding.
And tell me why I'm wrong.
Put a feral cat on it. That's what I said.
Hey.
Listen,
Kitty cat Cass.
You're not wrong, but I think that I just like the desperation in Toni's voice.
Yeah.
There's the desperation in her voice, and her, I mean, going so low as to play the grandmother card.
Oh, yeah, we have that.
Mm-hmm.
You dropped that grandmother card on Lori Lightfoot. That was tough. That desperation is just part of what the C-suiters and business types are feeling, because they've got that say. What are they going to do? They're going to go with Toni? No. They're going to go with Lori, but she's going to be able to dictate terms.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you trust Lori Lightfoot if she were to be elected our mayor?
Do I trust her?
Do you think she's going to change
I don't
things
trust
around?
any politician. Pardon me?
Do you think she's going to change things around?
Yeah, I do. I think she's got to be. You know, I'm talking my column out that I'm writing right now for the web, but she's. You've got to think that she's going to be that somewhat of a change agent. That I don't know what Toni Preckwinkle is going to change about what. I mean, that's kind of static. Bernie Sanders, 1933, right?
Yeah. But wait, why would she change anything? Did you hear all that she's done for the city? Everything is going quite well.
I wonder though about the business community. Now, if they had gone a different way, like I had suggested, they might have been.
Well, yeah, I mean, right. So the Daily and Big Finance really got embarrassed last night, and they deserved it. And my suggestion, and get your reaction to this, is, hey, this is what you get when you play we're going to be hands off, wait to see what turns out, and then we'll make the least worst choice we can make and say this is the best we could do. When in point of fact, if all those folks who got together and put $7 million on the table for Bill Daley had actually done a recruitment, had actually engaged civically the way that they sort of pantomime they do on so many fronts, if they engaged, if they said, we're going to find the right candidate to navigate these choppy waters that Chicago is currently facing, then
the right candidate was out there. They didn't want to fund them. That's it. I mean, clearly.
You think
what would have been best for the city of Chicago would have been a Paul Bellis, Lori Lightfoot campaign. They had the candidate, and I have to say, Greeks didn't back Paul Bellis either. And Maria Pappas, I know who you are. You know what I mean? There were people out there that didn't back him, but now that's water under the bridge. The main thing is you're going to see Lori Lightfoot. Now, what about the city council, Dan and Amy? What about the city council? Where are they going to go?
Well, I don't. Well, who was Bill Daley? Who is he going to back? Do you think he'll obviously Lori Lightfoot or Willie Wilson? Because that's 54,000 people voted for Willie Wilson, 76,000 voted for Bill Daley.
You don't own those votes. They don't own.
I don't
those
think
votes.
anybody wants Bill Daley's endorsement.
Yeah, why would you want that?
I mean, why would you want it? The best thing I saw was my cousin Johnny sent me a clip from True Confessions where Charles Durning is dancing a little jig, and I want to make that into a GIF of some kind. It's just perfect.
By the way, that's John Cass making things into GIFs. Boy, we are living in strange times.
Hey, what about Burke? Are you going to tip the hat?
What you mean, Burke?
Tip the green cap?
Yeah, who is Burke going to back? Is that what you're asking?
No. I'm
kidding.
Think Burke needs a tip of the hat. Indicted in January, elected in February, like you said. I have to give the guy credit for knocking on every door in his ward and getting himself elected.
That's what he said. He said he spent the summer going door to door. Can you with his driver outside the houses that he went to visit?
And Burke?
Yeah.
His driver? With the Bentley? They took the Bentley out to go door to door?
Now, you guys are missing something. He had the mariachi band right behind him as he was strolling up and down.
He is a famed Latino community leader. There's no question about it.
Right. Donde esta?
So what about that? What about Gropo Joe, Arena, and Foie Gras Moore all getting bounced, and some runoffs too, including one involving El Gallito's daughter
and Deb Mel.
We're going to sit back and watch the left devour itself. Okay, that's what we'll see. But in the meantime, Scott Wagsback, who was my pick to become the chairman of the council's finance committee, was up with Lori Lightfoot the other night at her acceptance speech, victory speech, and I think that if they do some changes, like the changing of how to properly disclose whether you have financial interest or not, and that's nonpartisan, I think there'll be some changes made that could create a different climate.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would like to see that if you're a lawmaker or an alderman, you cannot be a lawyer and work on property tax reductions.
Well, how about this? You have to declare it before you shape the debate for months on a bill.
Well, don't
you have to stand up and declare it right away?
Well, I mean, don't you think that when Ed Burke is acquitted, he should return to be the finance committee chairman?
Well, that might be it, but will Mayor Lightfoot want him back?
With respect to,
because I think Lori Lightfoot is going to be the mayor of Chicago.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to develop that a little bit more. You would think, I think the outsider would say, oh, Toni Preckwinkle's got the public sector union. She had all this financial backing. She's the Cook County Board president. She's going to win. Why not?
She's history. She's yesterday's news. She lost touch. Look, the white boy. Let's do stereotypes, okay?
Okay.
The white boys with their pink fuzzy hats, wearing a fleece and drinking a cafe Americano. They're going and voting for Bernie. They're going to go for Lori. They're not going to go for the old Toni Preckwinkle playing the grandmother card. That's not going to happen.
And she already has a job. I mean, and she's not doing a good job at the current position that she holds, which is Cook County Board president.
What about the intersectionality of it all? You've got black, lesbian, and gay versus black, female.
You paused.
How does that work?
Yeah.
How does that? What's the leftist formula on that, Dan?
Well, I mean, I guess it would be interesting in part to see whether second wave feminists of the Gloria Steinem era, whether they're going to be with Grandma Preckwinkle or they're going to be with Lori.
They're going to be with Lori, and so will and because of she'll be around. And I've met her wife. She's a very nice person, and I like Lori, obviously, as you know from my columns. But I think this will be a national media story, a big national media story. Black lesbian, lawyer, etc. Check all the boxes. She will become the darling of the national media, and Bernie's coming into town this week. It'd be interesting to see how that plays.
I wonder if she'll be on stage with him. Maybe.
Pardon me?
I wonder if she'll be on stage with him when he comes.
Why
to
would
town
Why would Bernie get involved in a runoff in Chicago?
Oh, he's not going to get involved.
Now, the other thing, too, it's worth noting, John, you know how it's the reverse of the Rise at Great America here? You've got the Yosemite Sam arm, and if you're taller than the arm, you can't be mayor of Chicago. Lori Lightfoot also clears that.
Oh, be nice.
Right? Diminutive Democrats in the mayor's office?
She's rather short.
Yes.
She's rather short, but so am I.
That's why That's why I suggested you run for mayor. I know.
I did. I know. You and Tom Bevan both tried to get me in, and I did, but there was a problem.
What?
I couldn't get the Tribune to endorse me.
Exactly. I know what you're saying.
I got a million of them.
The Tribune editorial endorsement of Bill Daley. That will go down as one of the most comical commentaries I've ever read. Truly. I mean, onion quality. It was fantastic.
Well, look, I don't break. Look, that's my newspaper. The newspaper endorsed Bill Daley.
Yes.
Enough said. Okay. Someone wise, Dan Proft said, quit crying about if wishes were horses and beggars would ride. He just said that 20 minutes ago. So now don't play that game with me on my paper.
All
right. I love my paper.
All right.
Paper. I'll tell you one thing.
All right, stop rolling around in newsprint. All right, what?
What do the owners of the Sun-Times feel like now that they couldn't even get Susana Mendoza an endorsement in their own paper?
Well,
how's that?
Yeah.
Well, Susana Mendoza lost because she used to date Proco Joe. And Proco Joe.
She lost because she's insufferable, and she didn't clear the credibility threshold. She didn't even come close to the credibility threshold. That's the other factor with Lori Lightfoot. But John, let me ask you this: Chicago police. Lori Lightfoot's relationship with Chicago police is dicey, to say the best, I would suggest. And so how does that play?
I'll give you a little insight into the column tomorrow. And today, I guess it'll be up when I write it. Lori Lightfoot, she might have that problem. But who do the cops dislike more?
Yeah.
I'd say they don't like Kim Foxx. And Kim Foxx, state's attorney, who doesn't seem to be prosecuting many people, she's the protege of Tony Preckwinkle. I think that's going to play big on the southwest and northwest side.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's why we have John Cass on the show. John Cass, Chicago Tribune columnist. Look forward to his forthcoming column today and tomorrow on the mayor's election. John, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Adios, amigos.
See ya.
So, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Consumer confidence on the rise. AT&T wins its merger fight in court. Those stories next.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or more importantly, if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called Medi-Share, and Medi-Share is a Christian healthcare sharing program. It's been around for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. And get this, over the years, Medi-Share members have shared more than $2 billion of each other's medical bills, so they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with Medi-Share. The typical savings for a family is around $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost health plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. You can join Medi-Share anytime, so call them today and check it out. There's no pressure. They're super easy to talk to. 855-41-BIBLE. That's 855-41-BIBLE. 855-41-BIBLE.
Last month, consumers more confident in the future of the economy than economists had expected. The Conference Board reporting January reversed 3 consecutive months of declines in consumer confidence. An appellate court has approved AT&T's $85 billion deal to buy media company Time Warner. The decision by a 3-judge panel was a defeat for government lawyers who had argued the merger would mean higher prices for consumers. And Houston-based Citgo Petroleum formally cutting ties with its parent company, a state-run oil firm based in Venezuela. The move means the company is complying with U.S. sanctions against Venezuela and adds pressure on Socialist President Nicolas Maduro to step down. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Make sure to check out the Income Store live video stream of today's show right now at 560theanswer.com.
From executive producers Tim Tebow and Robbie Tebow comes Run the Race. Two brothers share an unbreakable bond, but life's unexpected adversities put their future in question.
It's all part of his plan, right? You're not the first person to wrestle with his faith.
When you lose your way, how do you find hope?
Why is this so hard?
God does love you. He loves you like crazy.
Run the Race. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Now playing. For tickets and showtimes, go to runtheracemovie.com.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
This is a Fox News alert. Trump Kim 2 is underway in Vietnam. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President Trump and the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un laughing and shaking hands before sitting down to dinner in Hanoi. They're live as Fox's Simon Owen.
Chris, President Trump describing Kim Jong-un as a great leader.
I think that you will have a tremendous future with your country, a great leader, and I look forward to watching it happen.
Speaking as the leaders sat down for brief talks before dinner, the president saying he hopes that a lot of things are going to be resolved, and he touted North Korea's economic potential. But for that money to arrive, North Korea would likely have to surrender its nuclear weapons. Chris?
Well, Simon, 8,000 miles, give or take, away back in Washington. The president's former attorney this morning plans to call his former boss a con man and a cheat in sworn testimony to Congress. Fox's Rachel Sutherland in D.C. She's got a preview of the Michael Cohen hearing.
Chris, the president and his supporters point out that Cohen has lied to Congress before, but in prepared remarks, Cohen says he has documents that will back up his claims, including financial statements and a copy of a check he says was from President Trump's personal bank account to reimburse him for hush money paid to an adult film actress. Cohen also expected to tell the House Oversight Committee that the president knew about the WikiLeaks email dump in advance and about a 2016 Trump Tower meeting with a Russian lawyer who claimed to have dirt on Hillary Clinton, but failed to deliver. Chris?
Rachel, thanks. That hearing starts in about 2 hours. There will be a runoff election for mayor in Chicago between former federal prosecutor Lori Lightfoot and Cook County Board President Tori Preckwinkle.
This, my friends, is what change looks like.
We may not yet be at the finish line, but we should acknowledge that history is being made.
Both women are African American. The current mayor, Rahm Emanuel, did not run for re-election. There were 14 candidates to replace him. The runoff's April 2nd. This is Fox News.
Cloudy skies, 24 degrees, 7:02 is our time on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago will elect its first African-American woman as mayor after yesterday's general election results in a runoff. Former federal prosecutor Lori Lightfoot advancing, winning the most votes in yesterday's general.
Not every day that a little black girl in a low-income family from a segregated steel town makes the runoff to be the next mayor of the third largest city in the country.
Lightfoot in runner-up. Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle will face off April 2nd. Candidate Bill Daley conceded late in the evening.
I congratulate Tony Preckwinkle and Lori Lightfoot on their victories. One of them will have the honor of being the next mayor of Chicago.
Also among the defeated, businessman Willie Wilson, Comptroller Susanna Mendoza, and activist Amara Enya. Maria Hayden is the new 49th Ward Alderman after unseating longtime incumbent Joe Moore yesterday. Moore held that seat since 1991. Daniel Laspada takes over as 1st Ward Alderman, beating Proco Joe Moreno. 44th Ward Alderman Tom Tunney won re-election in spite of opposition from the owners of the Cubs. The race for Chicago's next treasurer appears to be heading for a runoff. State Rep Melissa Irvin holds a slim lead over 47th Ward Alderman Amaya Pawar. A spokesman for the Illinois Congressman Adam Kinzinger and a Wisconsin National Guard member, critical of Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers says the congressman was simply exercising his free speech rights. Republican Adam Kinzinger criticized Evers on Twitter and on news programs Monday for an executive order pulling the state's Guard troops out of Arizona. Now, Wisconsin statutes prohibit a commissioned officer like Kinzinger from using contemptuous words against government officials, including Wisconsin's governor. Guard officials in Evers' office are looking into whether to discipline Kinzinger. Blackhawks begin a key 3-game West Coast road swing tonight against the Ducks, trailing the Stars by 6 points for the final wildcard slot in the West. Bulls visit the Grizzlies tonight. Diamondbacks over the Cubs. White Sox beat the Royals in spring baseball. The news service of Boost Mobile. With the money you save by switching to Boost Mobile, you'll have more freedom to spend your hard-earned tax return on other stuff. Switch today and get 4 lines each with unlimited gigs for just $100 a month. Plus, get 4 free phones. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
36 days. That's how long it takes the average company to find their next hire. Glassdoor can help you quickly find the right job candidate in half the resumes. From 62 million job seekers, Glassdoor only matches you with qualified candidates who have the skills and experience your small business needs to grow. And Glassdoor hires are committed. They're 30% more likely to stay with your business longer. Go to glassdoor.com/hire. Glassdoor. Find the right fit for your business.
You know what's fun? Refunds! And using my tax refund to save big at Family Dollar, where you can save $5, $10, and $20 with Family Dollar Smart Coupons. This week, 12-pack Pepsi products, buy 3 for $10. Angel Soft Bath Tissue or Sparkle Paper Towels, $4.50. And Tide Liquid or Pods, $2.95 with your Family Dollar Smart Coupons. Sign up today. Download our app or visit FamilyDollar.com, where Family Dollar is refund.
I got my bottle of Balance of Nature. Oh, yeah. I went to their website, balanceofnature.com. And again, I typed Chicago in the promo code for 35% off my first order of fruits and veggies for Balance of Nature. You know, we're in the thick of it, the cold and flu season here in Chicago, and everyone's sniffling and sneezing and coughing. I'm around kids a lot, and I want to avoid getting sick. So I know that I have to boost my immune system. And a great way to do that is with the fruits and veggies from Balance of Nature. We're all busy, and it's hard to get enough fruits and veggies, and that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies in a capsule to boost your immune system all winter long. Folks, the testimonials are real. I've met Dr. Douglas Howard and his wife and son. Dr. Howard is the founder and creator of Balance of Nature, and he showed me the emails. We played the voicemails of real people who use Balance of Nature to get healthier and stay healthy. That should be you. So don't wait another day. Try it now before you get sick. And again, 35% off your order by using the promo code Chicago when you go to balanceofnature.com or simply call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751.
Rocket Mortgage is with you every step of the way to provide a seamless mortgage experience. Visit rocketmortgage.com today. Licensed in all 50 states, equal housing lender, NMLS number 3030.
7:07 and a check on the roads in the AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
Southbound Tri-State traffic is at a standstill. Willow Road to Central Road with a crash in the right lane. Northbound there are delays from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis. Reagan Tollway to the Icon Golf to Central with Gapers. See a closure in McHenry of eastbound 120. Chapel Hill to Crestwood due to a rollover. And Algonquin and Barrington Hills is shut down. Bateman Hill with a crash. Icy conditions. It's very icy on 41 in Lake Forest. Eden's 25 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose. Kennedy, 41 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower, 45 minutes, 390 to the Circle. Stevenson, 52 minutes, 355 to the Drive. Ryan, 28 minutes, 95th to the Loop. I-57, 25 minutes, I-80 to the Merge. Bishop, 431. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and meteorologist Steve Williams.
Some snow this morning, little or no accumulation.
freezing drizzle possible too. Otherwise cloudy, high 33. Partly cloudy tonight, low down to 11. Clouds and chilly, snow tomorrow, little or no accumulation, high 29. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
24 at O'Hare. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 2 for Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Trump and Kim Jong-un preparing for supper. Will it be their last?
Together again, I kept saying.
We'll get some reviews of that from James Kerr, founder at Heritage Foundation. But in advance of that, over the weekend, Mike Pompeo was on with Jake Tapper on his CNN show and was essentially asked about the administration's posture with respect to the nuclear threat posed by North Korea and, what exactly the Trump administration was willing to do with respect to the range of sanctions that have been imposed, depending on what North Korea is willing to do in furtherance of denuclearization. And here's what Pompeo had to say.
Now, President Trump, after the last summit, said, he tweeted, quote, "There is no longer a nuclear threat from North Korea." Does he still believe there's no longer a nuclear threat from North Korea, even though Gina Haspel, the CIA director, says North Korea is committed to creating this missile to hit the United States?
Look, having been the CIA director not too terribly long ago, I'm very familiar with the fact pattern. We do know the history. We know the history of the North Koreans making promises, making commitments, lying, taking American money when President Clinton said, we've got this resolved back in 1994. This administration's not going to do that. We have charted a different path. Frankly, we've been criticized for taking that path, where we work, we negotiate, and then the two people who can actually effectuate the denuclearization of North Korea and a brighter future for the North Korean people will gather for a second time. We have economic sanctions in place. We know the standard for relieving those sanctions, and I'm very hopeful that we'll make a substantial step towards achieving the full denuclearization in a verifiable way in North Korea. The South Koreans, the Japanese have been great partners in this, and we're very hopeful we can get a good outcome.
Do you think North Korea remains a nuclear threat?
Yes.
But the president said he doesn't.
It's not what he said. I mean, I know precisely.
He tweeted
what he said.
there is no longer a nuclear threat from North Korea.
Right. What he said is that what he said was that the efforts that had been made in Singapore, this commitment that Chairman Kim made, have substantially taken down the risk to the American people. It's the mission of the Secretary of State and the President of the United States to keep American people secure. We're aiming to achieve that.
For more on this topic and the begrudging respect a lot of Trump critics are giving him for his handling of North Korea to date, we're pleased to be joined by Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano, Army veteran, and currently the Vice President of the Catherine and Shelby Cullom Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation, also the author of books Surviving the End and Wiki at War, Conflict in a Socially Connected, Socially Networked World, that is. James, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, good to be with you.
So, give us your assessment of how this summit was framed and what you think would be sort of the best possible outcome from it.
Right. So 2 points. One is everything up to this point is just blah, blah. The way the North Korean system works is only the Supreme Leader, Mr. Kim, can decide what the North Koreans are going to agree to. So all the preparatory conversations and everything else, none of that really matters until he decides what he's going to put on the table. That's going to happen today, and within 24 hours we'll know what the North Koreans are really willing to sign up for. There's 4 possible outcomes here. One is they actually make real commitments to denuclearize, to get rid of the nuclear weapons program. The second is, look, we don't get that far, but we make substantive progress. And what I would call substantive progress is the North Koreans putting on the table, agreeing to do something that they've not before, because they've made lots of commitments in the past that they just haven't followed through on or just meaningless. The third is it's just a nothing burger. Nothing really substantive happens. And the fourth is the United States actually begins to backtrack on its negotiating strategy, which is we back off the requirement for denuclearization, we back off the pressure campaign. Of those four outcomes, the only one that's really bad is the last one. If any of the other three, even if it's a nothing burger, American interests really aren't compromised, that's really fine. So I think you have to kind of keep those four things in mind when we see whatever comes out and grade it against them, and not the tweets and the blah blah and everything else.
And the Nobel Prize talk and all that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Please elect me. How do you think the Cohens testifying on at Capitol Hill today is going to affect the meeting between Kim Jong-un and President Trump?
Well, I think American politics being American politics, I'm sure the Cohen agreement will drown out anything that happens in North Korea, even if Kim shows up and hands Donald Trump a nuclear weapon, says, "Here, take one on me." Just because of the nature of American politics and how obsessively we try to make everything about Trump here, I think that's gonna dominate the headlines for 24 hours. If there's no there, then it'll quickly fade and we'll shift back to the summit. But that's just kind of the nature of the political environment we're in.
You heard Pompeo reference the relationship with South Korea and Japan and the partnership that the three countries have had with respect to North Korean denuclearization. How important are those two countries in this effort, and how, if in any way, has the relationship between America and South Korea, Japan, North Korea changed as a result of these talks and efforts?
Well, I don't think the relationship fundamentally has changed. And I think that the strength of that alliance is fundamental to what got us here. I mean, what brought Kim to the table was the realization that there was no path forward for him. He couldn't just keep getting angry because he just couldn't escalate into war, because then he'd lose the regime, which is what it's all about to begin with. So he had no path forward. And part of that was because we had the pressure campaign in place, which include not just the sanctions and not just our nuclear deterrence and not just our missile defenses, but that we had this conventional alliance with these partnerships with Japan and South Korea, which are a very, very solid obstacle. And the fact that the North Koreans and the Chinese can't really kind of divide and conquer those three countries, that's what's got us here. And quite honestly, there's no such thing as peace or stability in that region if the United States, South Korea, and Japan don't go together.
And what about China? You just mentioned it. Trump pushing back any trigger on new tariffs. Is that in part influenced by a desire to get China involved in helping him with North Korea?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think the Chinese have been incredibly helpful in the North Korea talks. On the other hand, they haven't been obstructionists. The assessment at the end of the day is generally that China would actually maybe be happier if North Korea didn't have nuclear weapons. And so they're kind of fine with that. They don't want a North Korea that falls outside their orbit, but a denuclearized North Korea is not a strategic problem for China. The United States has been smart. We've kept this on a separate track. We're negotiating trade on one thing, and we're working on North Korea at the other, and the United States hasn't linked those together, and I think that's smart.
Is President Trump bringing any tourism videos with him? Because remember last time he said, this is what North Korea could look like if you just, stop being a communist country.
From Tower Pyongyang.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, I mean,
and all that.
He did the biggest commercial of all, which is we wanted the talks held in Hanoi because the United States is really holding up Vietnam as a model. And the model is look, you can normalize relations. You don't have to change your system. And yet you can, become integrated into the world. And, look, we all appreciate the president's incredibly over-the-top rhetoric, but when he says North Korea has a tremendous economic future, I mean, that's not hyperbole. I mean, North Korea is the poorest, least efficient, and least productive country on the planet Earth, right? So even if they did a modicum of liberalization and they had some integration with the outside world, the standard of living in that country and the economic activity in that country would be transformative. I mean, it would be, when you're the worst performing company on the stock market, a little progress makes you look like one of the big winners.
Might be even enough to get Dennis Rodman to move there permanently.
we could but hope.
Lieutenant Colonel Jim Carafano, Army veteran, VP of the Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at Heritage. His books include Surviving the End, Wiki at War, Conflict in a Socially Networked World. Jim, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate your insights.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
When you hear the word divorce, a lot of thoughts go through your head. The emotional exhaustion, confusion, the extra demands, loneliness. It's not a fun subject to talk about. So many people have or are currently going through a divorce. You may be one of them, or you know someone who is. Maybe a family member or friend. Now there's some great assistance to get you through the tough times. A BFF's Guide to Divorce can help you or someone you know walk through the divorce process and relieve much of the stress. It explains some of the variables and decisions of a divorce, along with the overall process and terminology. But it also explains how a best friend forever, a BFF, can walk alongside their friend during this challenging time, providing emotional and tactical support. Get a BFF's Guide to Divorce now, for yourself or a friend. It's available from Amazon. To order, go to Amazon.com and search the keywords BFF and divorce under books.
Hey, I randomly met this guy. I got a guy who came up to me and said, you know what, I've been taking Balance of Nature for 5 years. And I said, well, you look great. Your skin looks wonderful. You know, he clearly is in shape. And I said, have you noticed any difference? He said, well, I don't feel any older. And how many of us can say that we feel that we don't feel any different than we did 5 years ago? I should have been taking Balance of Nature 5 years ago. And you can too. You know, we're all busy and it's hard to get enough fruits and veggies in our diet. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies in a capsule to boost your immune system all winter long. The testimonials, folks, are real. I've met Dr. Douglas Howard. And this is the time when you want to take back your health. Be responsible for yourself. Take Balance of Nature. Here's what you do. Go to balanceofnature.com, type Chicago in the promo code, and you'll get 35% off your first order. Again, that's balanceofnature.com, promo code Chicago. Or you can go old school and call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. And be sure to use the promo code Chicago.
Are you happy with what's looking back at you in the mirror? I'm Dr. Howard Cooper from Excellence in Dentistry, and we'd like to help you with that smile. Whether you're looking to fix 1 or 2 teeth or a whole smile makeover, we can take care of all your dental needs. We have a beautiful modern facility and a great staff. And most importantly, we love what we do. That's what sets us apart from other offices. Let's face it, a dental office is not everyone's favorite place. Whether you're 2 or 102, we make it fun and enjoyable. We perform all types of dentistry as well. Fillings, root canals, crowns, extractions, dentures, implants. We do most everything right in our office. And for you denture wearers, we have a full in-house denture lab and can perform repairs and relines while you wait. We can also talk about adding implants so your denture will snap into place or become screw retained. This is the closest option to natural teeth. We are conveniently located in Gurnee at the corner of Washington and 21 in Saratoga Square. So make today the day you give us a call. 847-244-4000. That's 847-244-4000. Or visit us on the web at GurneeDDS.com. We look forward to seeing you, and remember, second opinions are always free. Excellence in dentistry, creating excellence one smile at a time.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results may vary. See website for details.
But hey, I'm buying a huge flat screen TV so I can finally see it without my glasses.
Why not just get LASIK at the LASIK Vision Institute? That's what I'm doing.
My glasses and contacts are a pain. I'd love to finally get rid of these, but who can afford LASIK?
You can. Because the LASIK Vision Institute is offering dramatically low prices and an absolutely free consultation. Just text TRY to 350-350. The LASIK Vision Institute has already performed over 1 million procedures. They use the latest FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for a fraction of what others charge. Better vision, better value. The LASIK Vision Institute. Make this the year you finally get LASIK. For a free consultation plus an extra 20% discount, text TRY to 350-350. You'll see for free if LASIK is right for you. That's TRY to 350-350.
Hey guys, Ken here from the hit podcast Today's Growth. Who would win a 3-mile bicycle race, an 11-year-old girl or last year's winner of the Tour de France? It all depends on the bicycle. It depends on their vehicle. Both on a 10-speed and the pro racer is going to win every time. But put the racer on a tricycle and the 11-year-old wins every time. You see, It's not the driver, it's the vehicle. When it comes to generating revenue, it's exactly the same. If you have a job or a small business, you are riding a tricycle. You can only go so fast. If you need to make up lost ground, it's not going to happen on a tricycle. No matter how fast you pedal, it's simply not going to win the race. Why do many people with no schooling and no advanced degree often become very wealthy? Simple. They choose to only ride 10 speeds. When it comes to helping people create their next revenue model, both Forbes and Inc. recommend Income Store as a can't miss when it comes to putting people on a 10-speed. Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that doesn't solely depend on you? If so, you need to check out IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
Here's an unfortunate fact that applies to most financial advisors. They're not legally required to act in your best interest. Creative planning is different. Our certified financial planner practitioners are always a fiduciary, which means they're required by law to always act in your best interest. Dial 866-436-1342 for a free no-obligation consultation with Creative Planning. Investment strategies recommended by Creative Planning are not assured of earning a profit or avoiding a loss in declining markets.
Balance of Nature's fruit and veggie capsules contain 100% vine-ripened fruits and vegetables, tested pure with no pesticides, fillers, or additives of any kind, and are the most effective whole food supplements on the market today. You might ask, how can over 10 servings of 31 different fruits and vegetables fit into 6 vegetarian capsules? Fruits and vegetables are on an average 85% water. Balance of Nature uses cold vacuum technology to remove the water, leaving only the whole food. We don't use any heat, air, or light drying methods that damage nutrients. Our cold vacuum technology maintains 99% of the fresh fruits and vegetables' original nutritional value. Along with diet and exercise, Mother Nature provides fruits and vegetables to help us maintain good health.
To order, go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751 and use discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and I help business owners, 1099 employees, and those with unfiled tax returns solve their IRS problems. And I'm also the host of the IRS Radio Hour.
And I'm Jim Leahy, the co-host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here every Sunday evening at 5 on AM 560.
The Answer. I know you want a local attorney you can look in the eye and hold accountable for solving your IRS problem, not some big box outfit without a Chicago connection. So today we have a special offer. A good night's sleep.
A good night's sleep? Are you trying to give away a pillow?
Great guess, Jim. But no, I want to help people solve the problems that are keeping them up at night. If you fear the IRS will take away your money, freeze your bank account, garnish your wages, visit your home or job, and now they can take away your passport, you need to hire me to solve your IRS problem for good.
Call attorney Stephen Leahy, your Chicago IRS answer man at 312-664-6649, 312-664-6649, and get the IRS out of your business and your life for good.
AM 560, The Answer.
They got the beat, the campus beat, the campus beat. Yeah, the campus beat.
Yeah, we got the campus beat and Dateline Berkeley again.
Oh, shocker.
And it's got a Chicago connection. Leadership Institute representative was on campus helping to recruit conservatives. They had a table in the quad area there with a sign that read, "Hate crime hoaxes hurt real victims." Of course, a reference to the Smollett case.
Yeah.
And
that's not bad.
well, one student passerby thought it was bad, and so this happened.
Mike, dude, I'm with you. Yeah. You won this fight. I'm with you. Put your hands on me again, motherfucker. Race is a little different. Oh,
Races BH, and then he hit him in the face a couple of times.
You are f***ing encouraging violence.
No, I'm not.
I don't give you a videotape. You're a
on my face, motherfucker. Put your phone on my face. You want to hit me? I'll shoot your ass.
Oh.
Get the f*** out of my face.
Are you sure that wasn't the Bell Waters 5th and 6th grade girls basketball game from last night? I'm just checking.
So you can watch the video, but you get a flavor for it from a couple of different angles and audio compilations. ultimately, this guy who was struck didn't fight back against this thug, calling him a racist B-word, MFer, racist little inbred B, C-word, and so forth. You know, the normal sort of high-minded debates you get on the college campus these days, particularly Berkeley, no less. So this is the good thing is it was videoed, and now an update on this, because I know the other people have covered this while we were covering the mayoral election. University of California Police Department is concluded its investigation. The department is seeking a felony warrant from the local DA for the suspect identified. Oh, yeah. So he'll be pursued and ultimately arrested. But it's just interesting. How much coverage do we get of a hoax that's rooted in hate versus an actual battery that's rooted in hate on a college campus, no less? And this leads to a second update for Campus Beat from Crispin Sartwell, friend of the show, philosophy professor at Dickinson College. Don't give to your alma mater is his op-ed. Do not give to your alma mater. And it's not the usual reason. Like, oh, because your alma mater is liberal and don't support that cultural Marxism on campus.
Well, what's the reason?
Bob Garthwaite, an alumnus and major donor of Pennsylvania's Gettysburg College, well, he was. Mr. Garthwaite resigned from the board after a photo emerged of him at a Gettysburg undergraduate in 1980. Here we go, the yearbook police. He was at a theme party based on Hogan's Heroes.
So what?
You know where this goes.
Oh.
Garthwaite was dressed as a guard at a German prisoner of war camp, complete with swastika armband. Student found the image in the college yearbook from 1980, took it to a professor. Professor took it to the school newspaper, the administration, and he was pressured to resign. Also pressured was the university to return Mr. Garthwaite's money or donate to some other cause because, you had to expunge Mr. Garthwaite's existence from Gettysburg College. And Sartwell's point here is, if you donate money to an institution of higher education today, you open your whole life to examination for political transgressions, even trivial ones. The larger the donation, the more severe the scrutiny. If the inquisitors find anything, you'll have the choice to confess and apologize or to attack the college. Your worst tweet or Halloween costume or high school musical role in the producers can now be used to excoriate you. The trustees at Gettysburg might consider a mass resignation, if not in protest and out of self-preservation. They, in turn, will be held to the incomprehensible and useless standards of political purity. Just for your consideration, maybe this is the way you actually stop people from endowing their alma maters just out of fear.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll switch gears and talk economic policy with Steve Moore, Heritage Foundation, CNN chief economist, 737.
And what's next for Gary McCarthy and Paul Vallis? They had some pretty funny concession speeches last night. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Chicago electing its first African-American woman as a mayor after yesterday's general election heads to a runoff. Clouds and 24 degrees. Former federal prosecutor Lori Lightfoot advances and will face off against Toni Preckwinkle.
Not every day that a little black girl in a low-income family from a segregated steel town makes the runoff to be the next mayor of the third largest city in the country.
Mayoral candidate Paul Vallis conceded that he was surprised by the outcome.
When you consider the money interest and the amount of money that the four machine candidates have spent on this race, that Lori Lightfoot, who has had a fraction of the money that these candidates have had collectively, would be the top vote getter.
The winner of the runoff replaces Mayor Rahm Emanuel. Maria Hayden is the new 49th Ward alderwoman, unseating longtime incumbent Joe Moore yesterday, who's held that seat since 1991. And the race for Chicago's next treasurer appears to be headed for a runoff. Melissa Ervin holds a slim lead over 47th Ward Alderman Amaya Pawar. Kim Jong-un, a great leader. That's how the president talked about the North Korean leader at the beginning of their second summit in Hanoi, Vietnam today.
And a lot of things are going to be resolved, I hope, and I think it'll lead to really a wonderful situation long term. And our relationship is a very special relationship.
7 executives from pharmaceutical companies say they will not commit to lowering prices of commonly used prescription drugs. Yesterday, Oregon Democrat Senator Ron Wyden accused the executives of stonewalling,
which is actually lowering list
prices, and reducing those list prices are the easiest way for American consumers to pay less at the pharmacy counter.
The executives did admit that they somewhat control drug prices, and one agreed that high prices impact the poor the most. The House is scheduled to vote later today on gun control legislation for the first time in a quarter century. 2 bills for the votes would strengthen background checks, according to House Democrats, but that legislation has little future in the GOP-controlled Senate. Chicago police continue searching for a suspect in the deadly shooting of a Northside College prep student this week, 17-year-old Emmanuel Gallegos. And Nikki Haley, the former U.S. ambassador to the UN, has been nominated for a seat on the board of directors at Chicago-based Boeing. Blackhawks begin a 3-game West Coast road swing tonight against the Ducks. Bulls visit the Grizzlies later tonight. Fighting Illini on the road in Big Ten hoops, taking on number 12 Purdue. The news service of Boost Mobile. With the money you save by switching to Boost, you'll have more freedom to spend your hard-earned tax return on other stuff. Switch today and get 4 lines each of unlimited gigs for just $100 a month. Plus, get 4 free phones. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The auto show is here, and that means the lowest prices of the year at Joe Cotton Ford. Saving you money, real money. Thousands of dollars is what we're about. Our auto show specials will prove that to you. Like these. New 2018 Ford Focus SE, save $71.21, now just $13,999. Or the all-new 2019 Escape SE, save $6,000, just $21,495. Brand new 2018 EcoSport SE, save $5,000, just $18,995. Or get 0% for 72 months. And check out the all-new 2019 Ranger. It's a beauty, in stock at great prices. Come see why we're Chicagoland's best Ford buying experience. It's our promise to you. We'll treat you great and save you money. From 3 generations of our family to yours, you have our word on it. At Gary and North Avenue in Carroll Stream, or at joecottonford.com.
Stock numbers 5043, T9063, T8575 through 2/28/19. All prices plus tax, title, license, and dock fees. With approved credit, see dealer for details.
The quivers, the shivers, goosebumps. That's what our customers say before 1 hour heating and air conditioning repairs their furnace. Call us. We'll fix it right, stand by our work, and give you our straightforward pricing, which means no hourly charges. How's that for goosebumps? Right now, get big savings on any heating repair. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
When it comes to your pain, many of you might be skeptical, like I was, about ordering Relief Factor. Pat Boone again for this wonderful 100% drug-free supplement designed to help your own body lower or eliminate occasional aches and pains due to aging, exercise, everyday living. I'm not skeptical any longer. The 3-week quick start is now discounted to only $19.95. Why don't you let us see if we can get you out of pain too at ReliefFactor.com.
Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. We've all heard what the big banks have been doing. Time to call Townstone. I guarantee you can have confidence when calling me at 312-896-2110 or going to townstone.com that our only interest is getting you the best refinance deal available and to make sure your home purchase closes on time and without headaches. Great news, we have several new home mortgage programs. The first is a jumbo mortgage program that only requires a 15% down payment without any mortgage insurance. The second is a bank statement program which allows business owners and self-employed borrowers to finally qualify for a mortgage even if they don't show much income on their tax returns. Had a bankruptcy, short sale, or deed in lieu 12 months ago and want to purchase a new house? We have a program for you too. All programs have restrictions, so give me a call now at 312-896-2110. Remember, nobody values your home purchase business more than Townstone. I guarantee it. I own the company. That's 312-896-2110 or go to townstone.com.
Townstone Financial is licensed in Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida. NMLS 136639. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing lender.
Check out Ground Game, the latest podcast from the Associated Press discussing the top political issues around the country. Available on Apple Podcasts.
7:38. Let's check the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Northbound I-55 is a solid mess from Renwick Road to past 126 with a crash on the right shoulder. Farther north of Stevenson runs 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Edens is 23 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Kennedy, 42 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 20 from Montrose, 19 in the Express. The Eisenhower's 49 minutes, 390 to downtown, 33 from Manhunt. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 25 minutes, I-80 to Merge, Vision 431. Southbound Tri-State Heavy 120 to 137. Jammed Willow to Central after a wreck. Northbound delays are LaGrange Road to the Hinsdale Oasis. Also heavy Dempster to Central. The other tollways are still pretty light. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Could be a bit of snow this morning. High 33, and storm totals could hit an inch or so, especially in the north and west. Partly cloudy and frigid, low 11 overnight. 24 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Clearance sale on all Chicago mayoral candidates not named Preckwinkle or Lightfoot. You probably won't be hearing from them again or very much more in the future. Maybe some of the ones, maybe some of the younger candidates. Maybe Amara Enya will run for something again.
Sorry.
I don't think a Bill Daley will. I don't think a Gary McCarthy will. I don't think a Paul Vallis will. I don't think a Gary Chico will. I think they're riding off into the sunset.
I don't think so. Paul Vallis, he's a perennial candidate for something, which I don't have a problem with. I was one of the 28,351 people who voted for him yesterday. And his next job may be a little different. He was coming up with ideas last night.
I have a future in doing the, when they do the auctioneers. And we've, despite the limited time to provide answers from time to time, I've just learned to speak faster.
Yeah, that's what he did. Learn to speak faster.
Okay.
Gary McCarthy, first
Needs
time.
better comedy writers next go around.
Gary McCarthy, he might, be a little bit like you, Dan. He's going to spend some more time on his golf game.
This has been a great experience for me. I've learned so much. Got to know a lot of great people. Actually, a lot of the candidates I really came to know and like and enjoy. Some of them are really good people. Some of them are really bad people. We're going to have to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
But do you think Chico, Vallis, McCarthy, that they'll get behind, Lori Lightfoot or Tony Preckwinkle?
I mean, some of them will. Their endorsements don't mean anything.
But Susana Mendoza, she's not, our little soccer player there. Not used to losing, Dan.
It's been 20 years since I lost a race.
Oh, my God.
Which is an indictment of Illinois.
It stings. Last time. Yeah, last time.
Oh, this is fun.
Thank you.
I love it, Susanna.
She still has a job to go back to. Remember, folks, you voted for her for, what is she?
Comptroller.
Comptroller, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you remember so well.
But Amara, and yet you saw it last night. There was nobody there at our campaign headquarters. Or a
lot of family.
Was
Chance or Kanye there?
They weren't there.
Oh.
And somebody texted that she never stood a chance.
Wait a minute. How do y'all feel this evening?
Some people.
That's what I like to hear. I am so excited to be standing in this room with this energy on this night.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Tony Preckwinkle, she reminded us all that she's a grandma. She's just like us. And she teared up. Are you ready for Grady with tears?
But when it finally comes down to it, I'm doing this for my grandkids. Yes, my grandkids. I want to make sure they have access to a great education.
Oh, really?
And real opportunities afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
That they're safe and happy, that they're thinking about their futures and not worried about their present. Yes. As your mayor, I can do something to make that hope a reality for all of our children.
Well,
really.
You could have done something for a while now. You've been in office for 30 years. What about the step-grandchildren, the grandchildren from Zeus's other family?
Oh, I don't know if people
Is she
know
is
about
she
that.
running for mayor to do for them as well? I mean, I don't know. They're in another state, so
Well,
I don't know.
he had a family that she didn't know about, right?
Hmm.
And now she knows about it, and they're not together.
Cindy and Joliet, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan. Hi, Amy. You know, Gary Chico, give me a break. His signature is on my teaching certificate that I received in 2007 from the Illinois State Board of
Keep that. That's a collector's item.
So, what?
Yeah, you got to keep that. That's a collector's item. Yeah.
Yeah, well, here's what I want to know. How many swishes in the political toilet bowl is this guy going to go for?
Well, that's
I mean,
vivid.
come on.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cindy, please.
Yes, thank you for that wonderful metaphor. John in Bridgeport.
Hello?
Hey, John, you're on.
Okay, I got to spike the football here, guys.
Yeah.
Chewy Garcia, what happened? You hold a press conference telling you're going after Ed Burke, and your guy got squashed, or your girl did anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe you would remember your St. Rita roots, Chewy, and would have backed the winner as opposed to going after these activist socialist side of town.
Well,
and another thing.
Okay.
Are you?
Yeah, go
okay,
ahead.
now I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, but and another thing here. Watch Patrick Thompson now.
Oh, yeah,
watch
another
him
day
maneuver
away.
himself for 4 years from now.
All right. Well, what about Ed Burke? I mean, are you like celebrating Ed Burke's wonderful reelection?
You're damn right I am.
Okay.
He's everything what the 14th Ward is about. He puts the city services. He gets it there. Everything gets plowed, including his front of his house. The garbages get picked up. The potholes get filled. What more do you want?
Oh,
there's
exactly.
There's not one business storefront that's not working. That's not operating right now. I mean, what the heck else do you want? And he's there for the people.
Oh, sure.
He's a people person. That's right. Thanks for the call, John.
That's why I think it's so funny. Last night, he wouldn't let any reporters into his wherever he was holding his victory rally. No, they all just stand outside, and they're all complaining about it. Like, it's really cold out here. We'd really like to come in, Alderman Burke. We won't ask you any questions.
Well, there's
about
only so much
felony charges.
There's only so much space in the panic room where he was watching election returns. So Ed Burke wins re-election. No runoff there.
Tom
now,
Tunney, no runoff.
No runoff for Tom Tunney. He beat the Ricketts family, basically, and he will continue to stay up the butt of the Rickettses every day.
Did you say up the butt?
You have to be a good neighbor. Otherwise, I'm going to be up your butt every day. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be up the butt every day to make sure that the commitments that Ricketts make and the commitments that the mayor makes are actually solidified by your support as colleagues.
I don't blame the Ricketts for putting up candidates because it's got to be uncomfortable with Tunney up their rear ends every day. So, all right, so Tunney goes forward. He's reelected. A lot of people have asked about David Krupa, the 19-year-old DePaul student who took on Marty Quinn and Madigan's machine in the 13th Ward. He got crushed. But
Well, he just still got 1,640 votes. It's not
crushed,
bad.
yeah.
Okay, that would be crushed compared to 8,000.
85-15.
Okay.
That's crushed. But so what? The point is that he took the fight, number one. Number two, he exposed that just in some places you just have to understand. Same thing with Madigan's legislative district. It's a control vote. You can't win. There are just too many people that are beholden to the feudal lord in those wards. There's just concentrations of them built up over generations, and you're not going to undo that no matter how earnest you are, no matter the quality of the arguments or quality of ideas you have. There's just some places that are not salvageable under the current system, in the 13th Ward and Madigan's legislative district on the southwest side are two of them, for example.
And there is a God. In the first ward race, Proco Joe Moreno. Gropo Joe, whatever, who should be arrested and charged with filing a false police report, especially now that he's not alderman. He lost his seat to Banana Boy, Daniel Laspada, who got 61% of the vote, which is huge.
Hey, the monkeys came out for Daniel Laspada, all of his friends.
Laspada supporters and his buddies were chugging beers and chowed on pretzels and sausage at the Radler in Logan Square, and they were watching returns and cheering. They had a little
Were they in there?
shindig.
Was he in his banana suit, and were they wearing monkey masks again?
No.
Okay. Well, I was just asking.
But that was we were really challenging the people of the first ward to do the right thing, because Proco Joe, not only did he, accidentally or whatever, purposely reported his car being stolen when he gave it to his girlfriend, has done other things.
So you've got a few thugs that were turned out by the voters. I mean, probably replaced by thugs in training to be the next feudal lord and perpetuate the system. But nonetheless, it's nice to see a thug like Gropo Joe get taken out. You had public tenement advocate John Arena got taken out in the 45th Ward. You got Foie Gras Joe Moore in the 49th Ward. He got taken out.
And then others weren't seeking re-election. Willie Cochran, who's facing federal charges. Ricardo Munoz, who's charged with attacking his wife. Danny Solis, who's involved in that FBI investigation. And then my guy, Amaya Pawar, is running for treasurer. And he's going to be in a runoff, which for city treasurer. And he's running against someone who's an actual business person who actually is a CPA who knows something about running a business, which might be better.
Well, I mean,
than
whatever.
Amaya Pawar.
This was a discussion about the qualifications to be City of Chicago treasurer.
Taking your calls all morning.
Comical. John on the north side.
Hey, good morning. I was wondering what you thought about the 41st Ward with Fat Tony Napolitano winning in spite of his chief of staff running the Facebook groups with the pictures of nooses and other racist stuff on it.
I don't know anything about the Facebook page. Thanks for the call, John.
Which ward was it?
41. Anthony Napolitano. Yeah, Anthony Napolitano won. I don't know. I like Anthony Napolitano. You'll remember Anthony Napolitano stood up with Jeannie Ives. Didn't endorse her when she ran against Runner, but stood up with her against the city key ID.
Yep.
It would provide the path for people in this city, in this country illegally, to vote in city elections. So that was a sensible thing to do, and not very many Chicago aldermen were willing to take that stand. He did.
Good for him.
I'm not following every Facebook page or every Facebook post from every individual in all of these aldermanic races. So I don't know. Everybody's got their parochial axe to grind and misses the forest for the Facebook pages in Chicago.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hey, Craig and Leslie here from In the Know. Leslie, people have spring fever. Consumer confidence is up, and that means spending. We want folks to enjoy what they've worked so hard for, but don't forget...
Craig, are you trying to tell me something? I know. Retirement's right around the corner.
Listen, a new season is time for regrowth and building on what you already have. You don't need to do it alone if you have Wealth Management Group at your side.
Spring into action and make Wealth Management Group your go-to partner. And listen to In the Know Sunday mornings at 10 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, if you're looking to secure financing on a new home, then you need to call Team Hochberg. Chuck, Marine veteran, has heard thousands of Team Hochberg's ads, so naturally he called them with his VA mortgage questions. Wrong. No, Chuck first contacted another radio lender who blew him off after learning he was credit challenged. So Chuck contacted Team Hochberg, which he should have done in the first place. Now Team Hochberg introduced Chuck to their credit enhancement expert, Gary Noble, who will help Chuck enhance his credit so Team Hochberg can help him secure a VA loan. Best part, Team Hochberg will issue Chuck a closing cost credit to offset the investment he made in himself to enhance his credit. Now, if you're a veteran and would like to work with a trusted local lender who respects your service and won't blow you off if you're credit challenged, then you need to call Team Hochberg. He has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but guess what? He can't help you if you don't call. The new number, 855-56-DAVID. That's 855-56-DAVID. Or simply visit 56david.com, 56david.com. Homeside Financial, Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, MB 676-10191, NMLS 1124061.
I'm pretty handy around the house, but now that I have kids, I don't want to spend my Saturday installing a toilet or fixing an air conditioner. But thankfully, there's Home Advisor. Home Advisor helps me find the best home pros in my area to handle any kind of project. You can read reviews of the pros, check their availability, and even book appointments online. And what my wife loves most is that Home Advisor is completely free to use.
Go to homeadvisor.com or download the free app to get started.
Home Advisor.
As a parent, you want what's best for your children. That means sending them to a school where they'll get the superior education they deserve, and that also shares your values. That can be tricky these days, as public schools have changed and private schools can be expensive. Your household budget has already been cut to the bone, and it's hard to imagine where you'll find that extra money. Well, there's help to lessen that financial burden and provide your child with the very best education at half the cost. At AM 560 The Answer, we work with private schools throughout the Chicagoland area to provide tuition for families at half the normal cost. Just log on to halfpriceschools.com and you'll find some of Chicagoland's finest private schools, from preschool all the way through high school, at half the cost. And chances are there's a school right in your neighborhood. Invest in your child's education and future at halfpriceschools.com. A limited number of half-price vouchers are available. Go to halfpriceschools.com now.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson. Spring is going to be here soon, and it's the perfect time to take notice of any paint issues. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters right away to take care of your home. Our front porch and back porches were chipping and peeling, just an eyesore. But CertaPro Painters swooped in and made a huge difference. They also painted a majority of our rooms in our house, the quality, service, and attention to detail like no other paint company. You know, spring is the season of change. Time to change your wall color or exterior and transform your home with an updated new look. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered with in-home color consultation or online with a color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting expert. Schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
My name is David Hochberg at Team Hochberg. Here's a secret my competitors won't tell you. Every conventional FHA, VA, rural, and reverse mortgage loan has closing costs. Borrowers can receive a closing cost credit for some or all of the closing costs by securing a higher interest rate on their loan. Over the past 18 years, I've closed thousands of loans. Some borrowers elected to go at the higher rate to receive a closing cost credit, and others elected to pay their closing costs to secure a lower rate. Team Hochberg doesn't play the no closing costs game in our ads. So if you want to work with the no closing cost carnival barkers, call my competitors. If you want to work with an honest local lender who will always look out for your financial best interest, call Team Hochberg now at 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial Legal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License, DMB 6761019, NMLS 1124061.
Let's face it, everyone loves to shop. From my experience of meeting a famous politician in the Hermes store in Paris,
to my unforgettable experience test driving my first 600 horsepower car, in which I said, "I'll take it," before it even hit 60 miles an hour.
we're pretty sure everyone has at least one unforgettable shopping experience. Hello, we are Carrie and
Ken,
founders of Income Store. Have you ever considered shopping for your next income? And we don't mean your next job. Did you know that you can walk into Income Store's website through a door on the left or a door on the right?
if you're just starting out or you simply have more time than money, you're going to enter our website on the left. If you've got more money than time, then definitely the right door is for you.
If you're looking to increase revenue in your home or business and would like to create a brand new, greatest shopping memory, all you have to do is change where you shop. Check out one of the two doors at incomestore.com.
That's incomestore.com.
Varicose and spider veins. Wow, what a gift from my mom. She had them, I got them, and not only are they uncomfortable and sometimes painful, but I stopped wearing skirts and shorts because I was embarrassed and I really hated the way my legs looked. When my kids asked me, "What are those things on your legs?" I was done. I finally went to Vein Clinics of America. The procedure took about an hour and I was right back to work. What they're doing with lasers these days is unbelievable. The staff made me feel so comfortable, and the results, well, even my husband has noticed. Vein Clinics of America has been treating vein disease for over 35 years. They're the largest and most experienced in the U.S. Look, I've been doing the commercials for Vein Clinics for years because I really believe in them, and you can trust them too. The best part, my insurance covered the procedure, so stop hiding your legs. Call Vein Clinics of America now to see if you qualify for a free consultation. Call 800-375-8900, 800-375-8900. That's 800-375-8900.
AM 560, The Answer.
This is 60 Seconds of Sanity with Dan Proft. The timer starts now.
Ask not what they did, ask not why they did it, but what they serve. Why would the billionaire owner of the NFL's most successful franchise patronize a brothel? Why would a successful actor perpetrate a fraud on the nation for a pay raise? Why would an international music superstar prey on young girls? Why would they risk everything? What's in it for them? Those questions are dead ends in the search for an explanation for this depraved conduct. To understand why, one must ask the question, what do they serve? As with the high-profile cheaters and reprobates before them, R. Kelly, R. Kraft, and Smollett are C.S. Lewis's men without chests. They are walking pleasure centers seeking only to serve their visceral wants, celebrity, money, carnal release. They are the byproduct of a culture that celebrates the unrestrained indulgence of one's appetites over objective truth. What a society extols, it begets, and so we have begotten R. Kelly, R. Kraft, and Smollett.
Very well written.
Oh, thank you very much. That's my 60 Seconds of Sanity, and we're still looking forward to your first installment of 60 Seconds of Crazy as a response.
We'll have that at 9:01.
Absolutely.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We get the straight dope on marijuana legalization. That's at the top of the list for the next mayor of Chicago, for the current governor of Illinois, when Alex Berenson, former New York Times reporter and now author of the book Tell Your Children, joins us at 8:08.
And could rent control be coming to Chicago? First, let's get into the newsroom, check in with news here at home and around the world. The one, the only, Mike Scott.
Lightfoot and Preckwinkle set to battle. Chicago Treasurer's race heading for a runoff as well. Wisconsin National Guard mulling punishment for an Illinois congressman. Kyle Long does the right thing and restructures his contract with the Bears. He'll stay in the city for quite a while. Blackhawks and Ducks on tap for later on tonight, while the Bulls will battle the Grizzlies. Bit of snow this morning on this day after Election Day. Snow totals about an inch. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
President Trump and Kim Jong-un together again. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The president's now wrapped up a brief meeting and dinner with the North Korean leader with plans to talk again tomorrow in Hanoi, Vietnam. With them, here's Fox's Simon Owen.
Chris, President Trump striking a positive note as he greeted Kim Jong-un, saying he has a special relationship with the North Korean leader and that he's satisfied with progress in the crisis over that country's nuclear weapons.
Some people would like to see it go quicker. I'm satisfied, you're satisfied. We want to be happy with what we're doing.
Kim Jong-un told reporters he's confident of achieving the great results that everyone will welcome. The US wants North Korea to give up its nuclear weapons. North Korea wants relief from American-led sanctions. Chris?
Simon, in about an hour, the president's former attorney will be on Capitol Hill, essentially testifying against him. At the White House, here's Fox's John Decker.
In his prepared opening statement, Michael Cohen plans to tell the House Oversight Committee that President Trump is a con man and a cheat who knew that Roger Stone, his longtime advisor, was communicating with WikiLeaks. Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, told Fox News that Cohen's testimony will be tainted.
Also, remember, nobody's being cross-examined. It's not a court of law. I would note the last time that this person was before Congress, he admitted that he lied.
Meanwhile, in Hanoi, Vietnam, White House spokeswoman Sarah Sanders, in a statement, called Cohen a disgraced felon. Chris?
Fox's John Decker at the White House. Thanks. 13 Republicans joined Democrats to pass a House resolution that would block President Trump's national emergency declaration to move money around to pay for a southern border wall. President Trump is expected to veto that resolution if it passes the Senate, which it could if there's a little Republican support. A vote in the Senate is expected in mid-March. On Wall Street, ahead of the opening bell, Dow futures down 63. And this is Fox News.
Skies are cloudy, 24 degrees, and there has been a bit of snow or freezing precipitation across the north and western suburbs, especially out near Rockford this morning. 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago will be electing its first African-American woman as a mayor, as former federal prosecutor Lori Lightfoot and Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle amassed enough votes to face off in the runoff April 2nd. Cook County Board President touted her experience over Lori Lightfoot after finishing second yesterday.
It's not enough to stand at a podium and talk about what you want to see happen. You have to come to this job with the capacity and the capability to make your vision a reality.
Lightfoot, the former federal prosecutor, asking her supporters a simple question last night after prevailing over 12 other candidates.
So what do you think of us now?
Political winner of the runoff replaces Mayor Rahm Emanuel in the race for treasurer, preparing to head for a runoff as well, too, between Melissa Ervin and Amaya Perwar. Spokeswoman for Illinois Congressman and Wisconsin National Guard member Representative Adam Kinzinger who criticized Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers, says the congressman was simply exercising his free speech rights to do so. However, Wisconsin statutes do prohibit a commissioned officer from using contemptuous words against government officials. The Guard and Evers' office are looking into discipline. Mayor Belvedere this morning says there's never a good time to lose 1,300 jobs, but Mayor Mike Chamberlain says his city is better equipped to deal with the loss of a shift at the local Fiat Chrysler plant than back in 2008. Fiat Chrysler yesterday announcing it's cutting back to 2 shifts at that plant. Blackhawks begin a 3-game West Coast road swing tonight against the Ducks. Bulls visit the Grizzlies later on tonight. 8:04 and time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network, here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, more shoppers were heading to Best Buy over the holiday season. Its earnings were dramatically better than expected, and it's optimistic about this year. Its sales at existing stores rose 3% in the recent quarter. Best Buy is buying back stock, and it's raising its dividend. More people were applying for a mortgage last week. The Mortgage Bankers Association says weekly mortgage applications rose 5.3%. The number of applications for both home purchases and refinancings both increased as mortgage rates remained under 5%. Campbell's Soup is selling its salsa business, Garden Fresh Gourmet. An affiliate of food company Fountain of Health will buy the business. The purchase price wasn't disclosed. Campbell's has been selling some parts of its business to pay down debt. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
It's 8:05 in Chicago. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I had seen my kidney doctor because I only have one kidney that works. And the other one doesn't work at all. And I was pretty close to going on dialysis if it didn't improve. This last visit to my kidney doctor, my kidney it's operating at 21% now. So that's the highest that it's been in the last 8 years. This is really working well for me, and I am so grateful that I found you guys.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 20% off any first preferred order of Balance of Nature and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Chuck Spaveri, CEO of Spaveri's Custom Counters, a Chicagoland manufacturer of residential and commercial countertops. If there's a local commercial bank who knows how to get a deal done, it's Signature Bank. When my brother and I needed it, Signature Bank came through with a creative financing solution. That's because Signature Bank has experience working with companies like ours, a second-generation, family-owned and operated manufacturer. Our business matters to Signature Bank, and that comes through in every visit and every phone call with their team, right up to the bank's co-founders, Kevin, Mick, and Brian. Spaveri's is proud to bank with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Some job recruitment sites overload your inbox with resumes. Glassdoor knows not just any will do. From 62 million job seekers, Glassdoor only matches you with qualified candidates who have the skills and experience your small business needs to grow. In fact, Glassdoor hires are 30% more likely to stay with your company longer. And Glassdoor can help you find that perfect candidate in half the resumes. Go to glassdoor.com/hire. Glassdoor. Find the right fit for your business.
You know what's fun? Refunds! And using my tax refund to save big at Family Dollar, where you can save $5, $10, and $20 with Family Dollar Smart Coupons. This week, 12-pack Pepsi products, buy 3 for $10. Angel Soft Bath Tissue or Sparkle Paper Towels, $4.50. And Tide Liquid or Pods, $2.95 with your Family Dollar Smart Coupons. Sign up today. Download our app or visit FamilyDollar.com, where Family Dollar is refund.
It's 8:08. Let's check the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Telemonte.
In Cary, Rawson Bridge Road is closed. In South Rawson Bridge, Brittany to a rollover. Some delays on southbound 53 this morning, Rand Road to Kirchhoff. Northbound Veterans Memorial, it's heavy 75th to the Reagan Tollway, and Army Trail to 290. Northbound Tri-State delays are 87th to 31st, Dempster to Central Road after a southbound wreck. Farther north, it's heavy southbound 132 to 176. Aiden's 21 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Kennedy, 54 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, heavier in the Express. Eisenhower, 58 minutes, 390 to downtown. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound 20 for a crash at the Stevenson. It's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. And your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
A bit of snow this morning, little or no accumulation. Some freezing drizzle possible, too. Clouds and a high 33. Partly cloudy, cold tonight, low 11. Cloudy and chilly, some snow tomorrow afternoon. Little or no accumulation, high 29. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 24 at O'Hare. Next news 8:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by On Target Radio. From firearms and Second Amendment rights to personal freedoms and government intrusions. Listen here Sunday nights at 9.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. 14 candidates for mayor of Chicago. Now we're down to 2 after last night's election, yesterday's election, last night's election results. And every single one of the 14 supported marijuana legalization.
Yep.
Newly minted Governor Spalding, one of his first priorities, marijuana legalization. Obviously, government at every level and in other states as well sees this as a revenue generator so that they don't have to make difficult decisions about how to finance government in some sustainable way.
What are fund pensions?
Make difficult decisions about what government should be and should not be in the business of doing. The live within the means discussion they don't want to have. And so I was interested in the last few weeks, and we talked about this topic a couple weeks back, by a couple of pieces. One was this piece by Alex Berenson, who's a former New York Times reporter, in Imprimis, which is the publication that Hillsdale College puts out. Another was, interestingly, in the Wall Street Journal, from a pulmonary physician at Sloan Kettering in New York. His piece, the Wall Street Journal piece, If Weed is Medicine, So is Budweiser, where he argues, just the science, frankly, because he's actually, and this is sort of interesting, he actually indicates he's a proponent of legalizing marijuana for recreational use, but he nonetheless wants people to understand it's a toxin, it's not medicine. Berenson's piece is much more in depth, and it's intriguing because there's a movement on the position with respect to legalization by Mr. Berenson, as he describes, in part, I think, through the influence his wife had, who is a psychiatrist at a psychiatric institute in New York. And this has prompted a book as well. The book by Alex Berenson is Tell Your Children the Truth About Marijuana, Mental Illness, and Violence. And so we now turn to Alex Berenson to get some of the straight dope on marijuana legalization. Alex Berenson, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on.
One of the, there was a lot that was really interesting about your essay in Imprimis, but just I think the starting point is this sentence. Almost everything you think you know about the health effects of cannabis, almost everything advocates in the media have told you for a generation is wrong. So that's a pretty big statement that covers a lot of areas. So you tell me where you want to begin on that topic.
Sure. So first of all, the Wall Street Journal piece is correct. Marijuana is not medicine. We don't say alcohol is medicine, even though alcohol can reduce your blood pressure, and for some people it seems to reduce the risk of heart attacks. It's not medicine, right? It's a recreational intoxicant, and it's addictive, and it causes problems for some people, even though a lot of people can use it without problems. And that's exactly true of marijuana. Most of the claims made about marijuana's medicinal properties are not true in the public, in the media. There's a couple things that THC, which is the compound in marijuana, chemical in marijuana that gets you high, have actually been shown to be good for. If you have chemotherapy and you have nausea, THC is good for that, although there are other drugs that are also good for that. And there's some evidence that marijuana can reduce pain, at least in the short term, although the evidence is not as strong as people think. It probably reduces pain for the same reason that, if you have a toothache and you take a shot of whiskey, you feel a little bit better. It just sort of dulls your it's an intoxicant, so it dulls your feeling of pain. But in the long run, there's actually pretty good evidence. There's a very good study from last year from Australia showing that people who had chronic pain, marijuana for most people doesn't actually treat, and they wind up, if they were taking opioids before, they wind up taking more opioids. So marijuana is not medicine. Let's get that out of the way. Now, the legalization community in the last 20 years has been really, really smart and savvy, and they've promoted it as medicine. And Americans tend to be, to my mind, pretty fair people. And when you say to them, well, if I'm dying of cancer or I'm dying of HIV, I should be allowed to smoke pot if it makes me feel better, people say, I get that, I understand that. And they've tended to vote, in states that have an initiative process in favor of legalizing medicinal marijuana, not realizing what the advocacy community knows, which is that most of the people who go out and get these authorizations, because it's not a prescription, you don't get a prescription for medical marijuana, you get an authorization from a doctor who most of the time is just in the business of writing these authorizations. Most of the people who get these authorizations are not people with cancer or people with HIV or people with ALS. They're people who were smoking pot before, and they want to smoke with a license, and they want to be able to go to a dispensary and buy legally. So this is the great myth of medicinal marijuana, and I agree with Peter Bach in the Wall Street Journal. If we're going to legalize this stuff, and I don't favor legalization, but there's a case to be made for legalization. If we're going to legalize it, let's not pretend that it's medicine. Let's say it's a recreational drug, and let's legalize it on that basis, and then let's talk about how we're going to tell people about its problems.
Well, can marijuana cause schizophrenia?
Yes, marijuana is a psychiatrically toxic drug. Marijuana causes psychosis. That's the term that doctors, psychiatrists use for a break from reality. So if you smoke or you take an edible and you wind up in the emergency room with hallucinations or just you're having a panic attack and you think the cops are out to get you, people wind up in the ER all the time for these symptoms. You're going to be diagnosed with what's called cannabis psychosis. That's a medical term. And if you smoke a lot as a teenager, your risk of getting schizophrenia, which is a really terrible mental illness that's essentially a permanent psychotic condition, are somewhere between 2 and 6 times the risk of somebody who doesn't smoke. And again, schizophrenia is a terrible disease, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And the fact that we're close to legalizing a drug nationally that can do this to people without even really realizing this risk is incredible to me.
And I just go back to, I mentioned at the outset, but your wife was a senior psychiatrist at this institute in New York, and she was, it seems to me, one of the people that opened your eyes to this piece of the discussion.
She did, and she would say to me, this guy was smoking. He killed his mother with an axe, or this person was smoking, and she threw her kids off a roof. I mean, these are real cases. I'm not exaggerating the kind of violence that you see when people get psychotic. These are the terrible things that people do. And I said to her, Jackie, this sounds like reefer madness. This sounds like nonsense. And she said, well, you should go look at what the science says. And of course, she's the doctor. She's the one who's seen the cases. She's the one who's read the studies. So of course I should have listened to her. And ultimately, when I did listen to her and I read the studies, and I used to be an investigative reporter for the New York Times, and I covered the drug industry, so I know a little bit about this stuff. I was shocked how strong the science is on this.
One of the other things that you make mention of in your piece, just in terms of informing people as to what the reality on the ground is as compared to the caricature and the marketing by pro-legalization interests. This marijuana that's legal in Colorado, for example, this isn't your hippie parents' Woodstock marijuana.
No, it's not. It's incredibly strong. It's 20 to 30% THC in a lot of cases. The stuff that was smoked in the late 60s or early 70s was 1 to 2% THC in most cases. So you can see that's 10 times or more as strong. And a lot of people today, because marijuana is addictive, because people develop a tolerance to it, they wind up using essentially what is a pure THC extract from the plant. It doesn't look like what you think of as marijuana. It's this sort of waxy substance that you smoke. And the idea that this is in any way medicinal is even more of a joke. By the way, you mentioned the tax issues, and of all the reasons to legalize, the idea that this is going to be a significant revenue raiser is the absolute worst. Okay, if you want to legalize on social justice issues, or you want to say I'm a libertarian and people should be allowed to make their own mistakes, that's fine. But even in Colorado, which is the state that has, I believe, the highest per capita use and also has some cannabis tourism still, marijuana taxes account for less than 1% of the state budget.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But how has the number of aggravated assaults and murders gone up in places like Colorado, places like Alaska, Washington, and Oregon?
Sure. So because schizophrenia, unfortunately, is a very serious contributor to violence. So people with schizophrenia but they have a much higher risk for violence than people who are healthy. They have about a 20 times risk of homicide. And I'm sure, without thinking too hard, you can think of terrible cases in Chicago where the person was clearly mentally ill, where the perpetrator was clearly mentally ill. So when you legalize a substance that encourages or that tends to produce psychosis and schizophrenia, you are raising the risk of violence in the people who are becoming ill. And in Colorado, in Alaska, in Washington, in Oregon, those four states were the first four to legalize. In 2013, they had about 450 murders. They had about 30,000 aggravated assaults. In 2017, which is the most recent full data we have, they had about 620 murders and 38,000 aggravated assaults. So the numbers went up about 40% for murders. That's much faster than the national average. Now, I know Chicago has a severe violence problem. A lot of that problem is undoubtedly linked to drug dealing, especially cannabis dealing. It's clear nationally that low-level marijuana dealing accounts for a significant fraction of all the homicides committed in the United States. And you can find increasingly police talking about this. Now, the legalizers are going to say, okay, well, let's legalize and we'll move all that black market dealing into the regulated market. Unfortunately, the experience of states like Colorado shows that doesn't happen at all because, first of all, people under 21 can't buy legally, so they still have to buy in the black market. And second of all, the legal market has taxes and it has regulations, and so the price is often higher in the legal market than in the black market. This is not alcohol where when you legalize, you end the black market. You just set up a community of people who have a financial interest in promoting this drug's use and who are making slickly produced ads and who are having dispensaries and who are marketing to young adults. The legalization, the way the United States has done it, is the worst of all worlds right now.
And I just want to be clear, too, on the science. What we're talking about here with the onset of psychosis and then crimes committed by people that are suffering, for example, from schizophrenia, there's correlations here. There's not a direct causal link.
Well, so I would say there's a direct causal link between schizophrenia and violence. That doesn't mean everybody who becomes schizophrenic is going to commit violence. I would say if you look at the statewide data, we can't say right now that cannabis legalization has driven up those violence rates. We don't know. There's a lot of reasons violence can rise and fall in a state. But what I will tell you is the people who promoted legalization said, hey, this is going to give the cops a chance to bust murderers instead of pot smokers. This is going to eliminate the black market. This is going to reduce violence once you legalize. And that has proven to be completely untrue. And, again, in cities that have severe underlying violence problems like Chicago, like Detroit, like Washington, D.C., I think there's a real danger that legalization will pour gasoline on the fire. And again, we don't know yet. It's too early to tell. But what we can say is that legalization has definitely not reduced violent crime in states that legalize.
Now, the flip side is, although I think this is going to be one of these, we're still very much in the early stages of this. It could change culturally. Norms change over time and generations. But another interesting point you make in your essay is that usage has not increased in terms of the number of people. It's just increased by the number of people who were already using.
So usage has increased. The number of Americans who use has increased in the last 15 years. It's risen from about 25 million to 40 million. So it's gone up.
Okay.
But what's more striking is that the number of people who use daily has gone up much faster. So the number of people who use daily about 15 years ago was about 3 million. Now it's closer to 9 million. So it's almost tripled. What legalization seems to do, because this is an addictive substance, like alcohol, like opioids, some people who start using it are going to develop a problem with it, and they're going to use it heavily. And, the notion of what, is actually called the wake and baker is a real thing. These people who literally are high on THC all day, every day. And legalization, because it reduces the price and because it increases availability, makes it much easier for those people to satisfy their habit. And that's clearly the most dangerous kind of use. I mean, that's true of any drug. Anybody who's using alcohol morning to night has a problem with alcohol. And, those people they're more obvious than people who are using THC morning to night because alcohol has more, obvious physical effects. But I think that everybody would agree that that's not a good, healthy pattern of use.
He is Alex Berenson, as he mentioned. He's a former New York Times investigative reporter covering the drug industry. The essay at imprimis.hillsdale.edu is Marijuana, Mental Illness, and Violence. The book is Tell Your Children the Truth About Marijuana, Mental Illness, and Violence. And as you heard from Alex, there's a lot of information here.
Thank you so much. I just would like to say one last thing.
Sure.
I hope whatever people think about legalization, I really did write this book so that people could talk to their kids. And, people who are using it might have a problem with the drug or be worried about whatever psychiatric side effects they're seeing, could sort of put this in context. And, I know that there's just a lot of misinformation out there, and I hope the book can help with that.
Alex, thank you so much, and good luck with the book. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Message and data rates may apply. Do you want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses right here in Chicago? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll be introduced to our 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Chicago area who want to learn how to get started making money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Chicago is a perfect market for my system, and this week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where we'll share how to get started making money flipping houses and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000. Seating is extremely limited, so text your 5-digit zip code to 82,000
right now, because this free ticket offer expires this Friday.
Just text your zip code to 82,000.
Did you get a flu shot? Well, you don't have to if you take Balance of Nature, because you should take it to boost your immune system. Everyone's sick right now, coughing, sneezing, sniffling, and you want to avoid getting sick. Then you know what you need to do? Get yourself a bottle of Balance of Nature. 10 servings of 31 fruits and veggies in a capsule. There's no preservatives. And it will help boost your immune system all winter long. So you've heard the testimonials. I can tell you they're real. I've spent time with Dr. Douglas Howard, founder and creator of Balance of Nature. He showed me the emails, played the voicemails from real people who use Balance of Nature to get healthier and stay healthy. And that should be you. So don't wait another day. Try it now before you get sick. And you can get 35% off when you order by using promo code Chicago. Call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751, or go online to balanceofnature.com and use the promo code Chicago for 35% off your first set of fruits and veggies from Balance of Nature.
Attention maintenance coordinators. Fans are a vital part of your business's building or factory. You've got to keep the air moving. But when they break down or need service, who can you call? Vans Industrial repair all types of fans, from small wall fans to large air movers.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. Fan repair is one of many services that Vans offers. If you have a fan with a damaged shaft, bearing, impeller, or housing, we can help. And if you need a new fan, we handle all major brands and can provide engineering assistance to properly size your new fan. Our crews can respond to your emergencies or routine maintenance and will have your fan back up and running fast. And when we're done repairing your fan, we can also dynamically balance it so it runs smooth for years to come.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level, to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND to get your fan repaired today. That's 833-VANS-IND, or on the web at vansindustrial.com.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance. Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We could find you a $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-700-1368. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-700-1368. You could save up to 70%. That's 1-800-700-1368. 1-800-700-1368.
AM 560. The Answer.
Now we have an explosive half hour coming up, if you know what I mean.
Well, coming up at 8:38, we're going to talk to Jane Garvey, president of the Chicago Creative Investors Association. Do a little Econ 101 lesson on rent control in Chicago. Apparently, politicians in the state are not familiar with New York City and how it's worked there. So we'll try to inform the electorate with 5 weeks to go before a mayoral election.
And later, animal stories are back, and don't forget about that pooper intendant. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Gray skies, 25 degrees. Chicago will be electing its first African-American woman as mayor. There will be a runoff April 2nd between former federal prosecutor Lori Lightfoot and Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle. Preckwinkle says she has the experience edge over Lori Lightfoot.
It's not enough to stand at a podium and talk about what you want to see happen. You have to come to this job with the capacity and the capability to make your vision a reality.
Chicago's coming off an election that saw extremely low voter turnout as of early this morning. 33.1% of registered voters had cast ballots, slightly higher than when a record low of 33.08% cast ballots in 2007. The race for Chicago's treasurer appears to be heading for an April 2nd runoff. Melissa Irvin and Omaya Pawar. Maria Haddon is the new 49th Ward alderwoman, unseating longtime incumbent Joe Moore. Daniel Espada takes over as First Ward alderman, beating out the controversial Proco Joe Marino. Michael Cohen will tell Congress today that President Trump is a con man and a cheat who knew of a WikiLeaks plot, Cohen says, was hatched in Trump Tower. A spokeswoman for an Illinois congressman and a Wisconsin National Guard member who openly criticized Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers says the congressman was simply exercising his free speech rights as a congressman. Republican Representative Adam Kinzinger was critical of Evers on Twitter and on news programs for an executive order pulling the state's Guard troops out of Arizona. Wisconsin statutes prohibit a commissioned officer from using contemptuous words even against the governor. A 30-year Illinois public school veteran has been named Illinois State School Superintendent. Carmen Ayala was introduced after the State Board of Education approved her hiring at its meeting in Springfield. Ayala had been superintendent of the Berwyn North School District and served as an assistant superintendent in Plainfield. Blackhawks take on the Ducks tonight. Bulls and Grizzlies on the docket. Illinois men's basketball on the road in the Big Ten, taking on number 12 Purdue. Our Northern Illinois Huskies beat Western Michigan last night, 70-65. Tonight in the Valley, big contest all the way around. Illinois State, Missouri State, SIU and Evansville, Bradley and Valparaiso, and Loyola tackles Northern Iowa. The news, a service of Boost Mobile. With the money you save by switching to Boost Mobile, you'll have more freedom to spend your hard-earned tax return on other stuff. Switch today, get 4 lines each with unlimited gigs for $100 a month, plus get 4 free phones. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says we can learn from the fake beating case.
The damage that this guy caused with this horrible, horrible accusation. If we haven't learned anything, we should learn that the media better stop jumping to conclusions. We need to stop jumping to conclusions. Everybody needs to stop jumping to conclusions. We need a wake-up call.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, I'm Amy Jacobson, and I have the pleasure of having Chris Crum, the national host of Power Trading Radio, with me. And he has some really cool workshops on the schedule that you can attend right here in the Chicagoland area. Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm awesome, Amy. Thanks for having me. This is for Online Trading Academy. They're the people that power Power Trading Radio. And they've got some powerful, comprehensive workshops on the schedule. They're proven, convenient workshops where they teach you the common mistakes that traders and investors make. They show you how they can time the markets with a great degree of accuracy. And you know what they do is they introduce you to a patented rule-based strategy that you can apply to a trading account if you want to replace or supplement your income. Or, you know what, apply it to your long-term investments to grow wealth over time. $500 value, but they have empowered me to give it away to your listeners today absolutely free.
And the phone number to call is 888-984-TRADE. That's 888-984-8723, or go to tradingacademy.com. That's tradingacademy.com.
Trans ideology is in our schools, government, churches, even our homes.
We need to start taking some action in stopping this total madness.
Join the Illinois Family Institute for our Trans Ideology Worldview Conference, Saturday, March 16th at Stone Church in Orland Park, with Dr. Michelle Curtella, authors Denise Schick and Douglas Wilson, and Walt Heyer, a former transgender, with encouragement for others.
Let me help you realize who you are.
The Illinois Family Institute Worldview Conference, biblical training for today's culture, 10 a.m. Saturday, March 16th at Stone Church in Orland Park. $20 per person, $50 per family. To attend, call 708-781-9328. 708-781-9328. Or visit illinoisfamily.org.
It is 8:36. Let's get an update on the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Inbound Kennedy delay start at Sayre. It's 54 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 34 from Montrose, 35 on the Express. Outbound 32 minutes downtown to the airport. Edens, 19 minutes Lake Cook to the junction, outbound 31. Eisenhower, 58 minutes, 390 to downtown, 41 from Manheim, outbound 39 minutes to 390. Northbound I-55 delays start at Renwick. It is an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36 minutes. Ryan, 33 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Tri-State Heavy, 132 to 176. Northbound 75th to 31st, Reagan Tollway to the Ike, and Dempster to Central Road. Northbound Veterans Memorial delay, 75th to the Reagan Tollway and Army Trail to 290. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Bit of snow in the forecast for today, high 33, partly cloudy, frigid overnight, low 11, and more snow with a little afternoon accumulation tomorrow and a high of 29. 25. Next news coming up at 9, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And so there's a couple of bills bouncing around Springfield. All the big bad big government ideas, I should say. Rent control.
Rent's too high?
Remember
that guy, the rent too damn high candidate?
Yeah. And I think he understood that rent control in New York City was one of the reasons it was too damn high. That's the experience in San Francisco. And now members of Illinois Democratic Party's Maduro caucus want to bring that to this state. Two bills. Will Guzzardi, socialist from Chicago, House Bill 2430, would repeal Illinois' Rent Control Preemption Act, which precludes any municipality in the state from enacting laws controlling the rents of residential and commercial properties. Maddie Hunter, over on the Senate side, Democrat from Chicago, she would go a bit further, establish 6 elected regional rent control boards across Illinois, funded by landlords, and tie annual rent hikes to no more than the change in inflation. The housing market isn't bad enough in Chicago and Illinois because largely because of property taxation. We want to institute more government price controls to distort the market further. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Jane Garvey. She's the president of the Chicago Creative Investors Association. Jane, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan and Amy.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, please.
I was going to suggest that the bill numbers you've got are last year's.
Oh, they are?
Session ended, and then,
yep.
Okay. And in the current session, there's 5 different bills that have been proposed.
But they do this.
That are proposing rent control in one form or another.
But these are a couple of the substantively what I've described as what
yes,
legislators.
Very definitely.
Okay. Well, so here's the thing. The experience in San Francisco, for example, was actually studied by a few Stanford economists. I don't know if they're as smart as Will Guzzardi or Maddie Hunter. But they published a paper a couple of years ago finding that rent controls in San Francisco reduced rental housing supply by 15%, which in turn increased rental prices in the other parts of the city by around 5%. So, which is obviously a multiple of inflation. So it turns out, now let me see if I can summarize this. If you artificially limit the supply of housing, you artificially increase demand, which artificially increases prices. Do I have my Econ 101 correct?
Yes. I've actually been thinking I need to send some of these people some economics texts. Not that facts would ever confuse them into sensible thought.
Well, so
yeah,
give us your perspective on this.
One of the things that's going on here in Illinois that's a little bit different than what they're doing, what they've got proposed here is rent control across the board for all residential housing. So there won't be a segment that isn't affected. And at least my perspective on that is that you diminish the attractiveness of investment. The investment dollars go elsewhere for building new housing. They go elsewhere for maintaining housing. And if at all possible, landlords are going to convert to something that is not, like a condo or sell the house to an owner-occupant. So your availability of housing is going to shrink, and the people that these guys are trying to help are the lowest level income earners.
Right, but
they'll be the least likely to get to rent the places that are available.
But don't we have Section 8 housing right now for people who need, subsidized living costs?
Yeah, you subsidize it on the one hand and you cap it on the other hand.
Because a lot of people that I know on our street, they're selling their houses because they want to rent because our property taxes are too high. So it's more attractive for them to rent.
Yeah, so we've got increased demand. And because the people who have been homeowners are selling and moving into rentals, that's, again, increasing the demand. So I don't know why we need to subsidize everybody. I mean, somebody wants to rent a $7,000 condo in downtown Chicago, why do we need to set rent and subsidize that on the back of whoever owns the place?
Well, even if you didn't, the super vouchers that we've talked about on this show before, but even if you didn't, even if it just said, $1,500 per month rent or lower, or a particular income threshold cap, and to do this statewide, I mean, what are rental property owners going to do in the state? Liquidate their holdings?
That's what's going on. At least the people who are paying attention.
And where do you, for people who are listening who have rental properties, where do you see this legislation going? I mean, has there been any indication from Governor Pritzker? I haven't seen it, whether or not he'd sign any of these bills.
I think he has said he would. It's kind of yet to be seen. I am trying to get the message out that rent control is bad for everyone, from the tenant to the landlord to the regular property owner, whose taxes are going to go up as the value of rental property goes down. The taxes will go up for everybody else to compensate.
Well, why isn't the media picking up on this story?
I kind of think they're
in denial,
very biased. Let's just put it that way. I think you guys know that.
Well, so here's the thing. I mean, this is just, look, Chicago, Illinois, the laws of economics don't apply here. We had this conversation with Gary Chico. There's a restaurant recession going on in New York City because of the $15 minimum wage. We do the same thing here. Oh, somehow we'll figure it out. Somehow it'll all just work out.
We'll just find the money.
You got food service workers who can't figure out, after advocating for a $15 minimum wage, why they lost their jobs in New York City. They can't connect those dots. And the politicians in this city and state prey on the same inability to connect dots because they haven't been chastened at the ballot box for doing so, and that certainly continues in Chicago. So why should anybody pay attention to what you fat cat capitalist rental property owners have to say? This is all about extracting from the haves to provide guarantees to the have-nots. That's the blue state model of governance.
Well, it very much is, but the problem and the thing that they don't see is the people they're trying to help are the ones who are going to be hurt by it. The tenant that can't afford where they're living now and is complaining. First of all, they ought to move someplace they can afford, but that's aside from us. If they're the lowest of the low in terms of being available or able to afford something, they aren't going to be the ones that get that apartment. If I still happen to own something here and I've got an apartment that becomes available and I'm looking around for candidates, I'm going to take the best qualified person. And it's not going to be the person that can't afford the apartment.
The other thing, too, about this with rental properties, somebody has a home or somebody, think about the city. Somebody has a 2 or 3 flat and they live in one and they rent a couple of others. This is a way to build a little bit of equity and a little bit of wealth. Which is, what everybody's supposed to do. Take care of yourself, use your money wisely, invest, save, recoup the benefits. And now they're saying, well, don't do that. They're disincentivizing savings, which is, I thought, something that we wanted people to do.
Well, not if we want an entire welfare state, which is kind of what I see the look here. I mean, let's take all of the rental housing. And by the way, if there's not enough affordable housing because we destroy the incentives for it, then as government, we can step in and build it.
Yeah, right.
$500,000 to build something that ought to cost on the open market about $200,000 to build.
So
go for it.
Yeah. So
it's
where do we go from here?
Well, I am hoping that we can wake up the tenants, because the tenants are the ones that can stop it, and the tenants are the ones are also going to be hurt by this.
Yeah.
I've talked to a number of legislators. And I see them running full head into this wall. I mean, it's
of course they are.
Illinois doesn't need to learn this lesson the hard way. If I look back at a simple article at the end of 1999, Forbes had an article, "The 10 Dumbest Ideas of the Century." Rent control was number 2 on the list. It's not like it's new that this is stupid.
No, it's not. It's just, but I mean, you're talking about Caracas North here in Chicago. So are there any legislators who actually can follow your logic when you plot supply and demand curves on a graph?
I would say virtually every Republican in office can.
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking to some of the Democratic, particularly the newer legislators, and some of them have actually commented to me as I got to talk to them that we understand rent control is not good, but don't these guys deserve a chance to try it? And I don't think Illinois needs to be a massive experiment and failure.
We've if only there was some other city that did this that we could, learn from their example. If only this had been tried somewhere. But hey, not here. We got all these smart people in office here. We've got the best and brightest central planners. And hey, let's give them a shot. I mean, it's just other people's lives. Let's see what happens. Why not? Right? It's remarkable.
Hate to be whining as a landlord, but I'm just turned 65 this year. I've been investing for 40 years, so I started fairly young. And I'm looking at somebody that's basically taking a wide swath through what I've saved for retirement and putting it in somebody else's hands. And this is not a zero-sum game. Our economy isn't. These guys ought to go make their own money doing something. Buy a house.
It's criminal. It's criminal what they're doing. But I want to be specific, Jane, since you're lobbying on this effectively. Is there any legislator that you've talked to that's really willing to champion this? Not like, oh yeah, I understand rent control is a bad idea, but what can I do about it? Is there anybody, including in the Republican super minority caucuses, that is stepping up and saying anything? Because I haven't heard it.
Representative Durkin, who's the House Minority Leader, we've talked to several times. He's been talking to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's been talking within the legislature. I don't know that he's been talking out in the public.
No, God forbid the public be informed. Okay, Jane Garvey, she's the president of Chicago Creative Investors Association. The topic of rent control, since legislators just talk to each other and don't do a particularly good job of educating the public, most notably the surrender Republicans, don't wait. Just call your local legislator or call any of the legislators, even if they're not local, and inform them that you oppose rent control, particularly, oh, by the way, for those of you who are tenants listening to this, thinking you're going to somehow stick it to your landlord. You're sticking it to yourself, as Miss Garvey was just explaining. Jane Garvey, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck with the fight.
Thank you both.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg at Team Hochberg. If you're credit challenged, Team Hochberg has a special offer. Credit enhancement expert Gary Novell has taught me everything I know about credit and has helped thousands of radio listeners enhance their credit. If your credit is prohibiting you from purchasing a home or refinancing your existing home, Gary will help. Here's how it works. Call Team Hochberg now at 855-56-DAVID and we'll introduce you to Gary Novell. Invest in yourself by hiring Gary to enhance your credit, and Team Hochberg will refund Gary's fee when Team Hochberg closes your loan. If you'd like a professional to enhance your credit so you could purchase a home or refinance your existing home, call the local mortgage experts on Team Hochberg now at 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID. That's 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com.
Homeside Financial Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, MB 66761019, NMLS 1124061.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I believe that your company has the answer because I've been through cancer treatment and knowing what it does to the body, and oh my, if that's all that medical science has to offer, there must be a better way. And I think the better way is knowing what to eat and getting it. I do notice that I have less inflammation. I feel like when I'm taking Balance of Nature, I'm getting fruits and vegetables more than what I would ordinarily get. I like when I open up the bottles, you can really smell the fruits and vegetables. I mean, I know I'm getting fruits and vegetables.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 20% off any first preferred order of Balance of Nature and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751. or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson. Spring is going to be here soon, and it's the perfect time to take notice of any paint issues. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters right away to take care of your home. Our front porch and back porches were chipping and peeling, just an eyesore. But CertaPro Painters swooped in and made a huge difference. They also painted a majority of our rooms in our house, the quality, service, and attention to detail like no other paint company. You know, spring is the season of change. Time to change your wall color or exterior and transform your home with an updated new look. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered with in-home color consultation or online with a color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting expert. Schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
It's very easy to understand why I belong to AMAC. I have been getting solicited by the AARP since the time I turned 50. Really, they start hitting you up. 58. So for 8 years, I've been getting that. And every time I get those things in the mail, I shred them because I proudly belong to AMAC. Unlike the AARP, which lobbied for Obamacare and was silent on the tax cuts, Dan Weber's organization, AMAC, fights for our values. I'm a member. $16, you get your AMAC senior card. You're going to get real savings on car insurance, hotels, and so much more. But you're also going to be represented by a group in Washington that fights for your values. Go to GallagherForAMAC.com to sign up. It's easy. GallagherForAMAC.com or call toll-free 855-624-6229. GallagherForAMAC.com, 855-624-6229. Join now. The stakes have never been higher.
Varicose and spider veins. Wow, what a gift from my mom. She had them, I got them, and not only are they uncomfortable and sometimes painful, but I stopped wearing skirts and shorts because I was embarrassed and I really hated the way my legs looked. When my kids asked me, "What are those things on your legs?" I was done. I finally went to Vein Clinics of America. The procedure took about an hour and I was right back to work. What they're doing with lasers these days is unbelievable. The staff made me feel so comfortable, and the results, well, even my husband has noticed. Vein Clinics of America has been treating vein disease for over 35 years. They're the largest and most experienced in the U.S. Look, I've been doing the commercials for Vein Clinics for years because I really believe in them, and you can trust them too. The best part, my insurance covered the procedure, so stop hiding your legs. Call Vein Clinics of America now to see if you qualify for a free consultation. Call 800-375-8900, 800-375-8900. That's 800-375-8900.
AM 560, The Answer.
Get your deplorable little face up next to the radio or your phone, iPad, computer, smart speaker, or filling in your mouth that somehow picks up this frequency, because it's time for America's favorite tribute rip-off radio program, Animal Stories. And now, here in person is the Rip-Off Animal Stories news team anchor, man, woman, human, or whatever pronoun they go by, Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Yeah, it's Uncle Dan, little Amy. Apologies to the Larry Lou Jack family. And we've got a couple of animal stories here. One is sort of a hybrid, a human story when the human acts like an animal.
Yeah, remember the pooperintendent out of New Jersey? He pled guilty to, relieving himself in public, paid a $500 fine.
Taking a dump on the track.
Not just once, Dan. He took a dump so many times that they set up a video surveillance camera and they noticed him circling the area. Circle first, get excited, and then kick.
What?
And then he didn't pick up after himself.
Well, why didn't they just put pee pads down?
Hey, that seems like the solution. But he's back in court. Now he's suing the police department for $1 million due to loss of income, harm to his reputation, emotional distress, and invasion of privacy because they released his mugshot. Now, they released his mugshot because he's a public figure. And
no, they released his mugshot because the mugshot is a public document.
Yeah, and it's disgusting what he did. I mean, he was supposed to be a leader in the district, and he was the mad crapper. Ayo!
Well, yes, this superintendent, perhaps this is explained through research that comes to us from Michigan State University.
Yeah.
Dogs have moods like humans. Their personality traits affect how they react to different situations. So what these researchers found, three main areas there's correlations between dog's age and personality. Dog's personality changes over time, just as humans do. The human to dog personality similarities, so how the owner influences the dog. And the researchers note that older dogs are much harder to train. We found that the sweet spot for teaching a dog obedience is around the age of 6 when it outgrows the excitable puppy stage, but before it's too set in his ways. So, unfortunately, no one got to the superintendent before he was 6. And so it's just impossible at that point. By the way, this also seems to be a crossover segment in terms of why Dan Proft is single.
Oh, that's right. Right.
Behaviors, listen, 1,600 dogs, 50 breeds were researched. And your dog's personality